All right, looks like we got some folks in the chat already. I see Mike, I see Dan, Mr. I-100's here, JP, what's up? Let's get it going here, guys. Welcome in. It's the SoCo Show live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the SoCo Show. It's episode number 188, and we are live. This, of course, is the voice and the face of the co-host, Cody Michael. I'm joined, as always, by the so-host, Seth Ott.
What's up?
Very well done. The bird poncho is back yet again.
Always.
I have to wash it in the last month. I hope so.
Never washing it.
All right.
Never washed.
Bird poncho is back. Never lost. Man, speaking of guys that don't wash their clothes.
At Jared Buckendall.
The host is in the house. There he is.
I'm the smelliest, I'm the dirtiest, I am the bro host. I finally have, I got it. It only took 1 year, but I got the bro host. There we go.
I'm just glad you're finally embracing it. Like, that's what
Yes.
I like. And I should say, I should have introduced you differently. I should have introduced you as recently added member of the 100K TikTok club, Jared Buckendall. That's how I should have brought you in.
Yes, they didn't send me anything. I just have a lot of digits there now, so that's cool.
It's pretty fucking sweet. So it's been, what, 10 days, 12 days since that happened. So you're rich now, right?
Yeah, I actually bought an island. And I am getting, no, I didn't get anything from them. If anything, I maybe got, a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Spoiler. That's about all I got going on for me.
Man, if you do get an island, then you need to put an octagon on it, and we need to get Kumail Nanjiani there.
Yes.
And it's going to be Fight Island, Cody versus Kumail, finally happening. I don't know if anybody in the chat is going to remember that joke because that was a long time ago.
Fight Island sounds like the best reality show that we put together.
Oh, yeah, because our fights would be ridiculous.
They would be in mascot outfits, though, instead of... It would be like...
It's like Masked Singer, but Fight Club.
Fox is willing to do anything with masks on right now, and including Masked Dancer, which they just added. So I think if you can get in front of the Fox executives with masked fighters, you're going to be a millionaire. Yeah, did you not know about Masked Dancer?
No.
It's the exact same premise.
How do you dance in one of those crazy elaborate outfits, though?
Poorly, I guess. But more importantly, how the fuck are you supposed to ever know who it is? Like, you're not singing is I've never watched either show, so I don't know if you're able to tell who it is when they're singing, but I definitely don't think you're going to be able to tell who it is when you're dancing.
The only people you know are people that do like iconic dances, like what's his name from Fresh Prince, and I don't even know who else has iconic dance moves.
Beyonce, I guess.
I mean, all they do is this.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting anybody like that on whatever the fuck the show is, The Masked Dancer. Didn't think we were going to be talking about The Masked Dancer tonight, so already we're off to a surprising start here. Oh, man. Shouts out to everybody. Yeah, Kyle brings up a good one. MC Hammer, he's got some iconic dance moves, and he's actually in the echelon of people I would expect to be on that show. So I wouldn't be surprised if MC Hammer was, in fact, on there. But yeah, we're already off to a surprising start. This is going to be a good episode. Again, it's 188. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Highlighted, of course, that you probably noticed in the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League later on in the show. Dan commented earlier, we will not be doing any spoilers for that. So I'm sorry to say, Dan, you can stay. We won't be giving anything away, but we'll give our reaction to the 4-hour binge watch that was Zack Snyder's Justice League. So stick around for that later on. For now, though, we got to get things going. We got to get loosened up, a little bit lubricated. So we better hit the titillator, find ourselves a titillating topic.
Titillating topics.
I can't find it. There it is. There's too many graphics now. We need to cut down on segments.
Wasn't there another sound there? What did it?
No, that one only happens on the end. What, is this your first time?
No, I'm
We haven't
pretty
hit
sure
the
you
tittle
always
yet.
hit it. I'm pretty sure you always hit it afterwards.
Only in the outro. It's a key distinction.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, I decided to upgrade the titillator once again. Instead of going with just words, we're gonna do a full topic, a question.
Ooh.
So we're gonna. I found a nice little website that pulls a bunch of questions up for us, and we're gonna discuss them. So
It's called firstdatequestions.org.
yep. Do you give blowies or
Oh,
butt
no.
stuff on the first
Oh,
one?
no. And yes.
That's a first date question for you?
Yeah. All right.
Oh, man.
The titillator, though, one thing that doesn't get upgraded is the sound. So I think that we got to fire it up. All right. The question is, if you had to get rid of a holiday, which would you get rid of and why?
Christmas.
What?
Whoa, you're coming out
I know-
swinging.
I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback. I get it. But I really don't like Christmas. I'll be honest with you guys. I think the problem I have with Christmas is when it is, and it's in December. And I've probably talked about this on the show. I'm pretty seasonal affective, so I'm almost always super depressed around that time. And I don't really give a shit about Christmas. I've never been religious. We always did Christmas when I was growing up, but I've never really cared other than getting presents. And I feel
Right.
like now that's the only thing people like about Christmas is getting presents. And I understand that. So maybe it's not even just completely get rid of it, but like maybe we can just do presents on a different holiday, like Thanksgiving. Dan is anti-Thanksgiving, which is preposterous to me. But let's move the gifts to another holiday. And I don't think that's a time for everyone to be like celebrating, because I always feel like shit. And then I feel upset with myself because I don't have the holiday joy. But it's like like half of the world doesn't have holiday joy. And we just spend way too much money giving people shit. And I don't know. I really think Christmas is like super problematic, and I could talk about it for way longer.
Jared-
but I'm telling
Jared
you
is
that's the
gonna
one I would
kill
get rid
you
of.
right now.
I'm not gonna kill you. I guess that you just sucked that childhood joy from me, because okay, you're just talking about Christmas or presents rather, and I understand where you're going from with the presents, and everyone give some, get some, all that stuff. But think about all the other stuff that goes with it. We got great Christmas movies, the Christmas, like the nostalgia of all of those memories and stuff, and like hanging out with your family, eating a bunch of food. I guess I don't know what your traditions are. Do you have Christmas traditions?
Not really. No.
See, so
Kyle
maybe
actually
that's
pointed
why.
out I didn't even get my brother a Christmas present this year. I gave him an IOU, which is arguably far more valuable, because I'm much more generous any other time of the year than I am at Christmas. I will just say.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe this is I'm being biased because it's never been a big deal to me. Thanksgiving, on the other side, has always been a huge deal to me. I love Thanksgiving because it's right around my birthday. And Dan thinks that's a problem. He thinks that overshadows our birthdays because his is that same week. I think it's awesome. The food is booty is the dumbest comment we've ever gotten.
Well, it
on the
depends how
history
you
of the
look at
SoCo
that.
Show.
If it's booty, that means he might be really eating it up. But if it's
Well,
booty, then he maybe doesn't like it. That's a poor word choice, Dan.
Yeah, I think he's saying it's bad, which is incorrect. But if you're eating butt on Thanksgiving, then like, great, good for you.
Don't do
I guess
that
I
on
support that.
Thanksgiving.
All right. Well, we found Nolan's new song, "Bud on Thanksgiving."
Oh no!
Oh my god, a tossed salad for Christmas dinner.
So you're literally wow. Shut it down. We're done.
No, go ahead, Jared.
Well, okay, you're coming out with Christmas being the top one. I mean, I'm thinking about holidays, and honestly, like Dan coming out with Thanksgiving. I thought about Thanksgiving, but there's a lot of different other ones in there. Like, honestly, I would get rid of maybe
President's
Easter.
Day.
President's Day. See, I feel like they're hitting in different tiers.
Yeah.
Like you have the top of the top tier. Like President's Day is like you get the day off from work, but it's just
Some people do. That's the issue.
Yeah, some people.
Yeah, Cody,
cool ones-
he doesn't want to get rid of it. Take a goddamn vacation day.
You will pry President's Day from my cold, dead hands, Seth.
You can have
Easter though.
You get more time off for Christmas than you do for President's Day.
I don't.
Well, I do. I get Christmas Day and Christmas Eve off. So.
Yeah.
Actually-
See, everyone wants to say bankers take the most holidays, but there's a lot of companies that
You
take the
fucking
entire
do.
week off between Christmas and New Year's, and that's way more time than I get.
Well, Seth, which one would you get rid of?
I mean, of the real how like people celebrate them, like That's what I consider a holiday, really.
Well, I
is
mean,
like
National Pizza Day, I celebrate that.
Yeah. I mean, I do every day. That's 365. But like the ones that people celebrate and get together, I mean, Mike mentioned it in the chat, Easter, but that's because I'm not religious. But I do like the candy. Valentine's Day is probably, even though you don't get that off, that's another holiday where I'm like, no, we don't need to celebrate that one. But yeah, probably like the actual like get together holiday is probably Easter.
Yeah. Or none of us are Catholic, so we don't really care about Easter. And
I actually am.
I will say,
but I also
Jared
don't care about it.
I didn't even know you're Catholic. If we had to come to an agreement on one, Valentine's Day might be the best option, because I actually really fucking hate Valentine's Day too, for a lot of the same reasons as Christmas. Christmas was the hottest take I had in the hopper, so that's why.
Okay.
I will say, okay, the problem I have with Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, they're all too close. I need holidays to be kind of separated a bit, because that time off, that time of family and stuff, like, that's my only problem with that weird chunk of holidays there. Like, separate them a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It's a really intense couple of months, and then between well, I guess there's Easter. I don't really think of Easter much, but for me, like between President's Day and Memorial Day, there's nothing, and that's a 3 months span, and that's exhausting to get through.
What about from New Year's until Memorial Day? that's what most people have, where they can't have any time off.
Well, I mean, but a lot of places get like Good Friday. I don't get Good Friday.
Yeah, I do get that one just because it's not technically the day. It's like a worded where it's not.
Yeah, but the thing is, in between there too, there's these weird ones like St. Patty's Day, like not actually
that
holiday,
one's fun.
But that's in between there. That's what middle of March or whatever. Like that one is a nice one to break up.
Cedar Rapids has a really good St. Patrick's Day. That's where Cody met the love of his life and also saw her barf all over herself.
The one that got away.
Yeah, man, Gray White Buffalo.
Barfalo.
Let's see what are folks saying in the chat. Easter is getting a lot of negative energy. So is Valentine's Day. Here's a take I think we can all agree with. The day after the Super Bowl, that should be a national holiday, right? We even if it's just one of those lame holidays that only I get off, I'm in support of the day after the Super Bowl being a national holiday. I think it would benefit everybody.
I mean, the Vikings will never get there, but if they ever did, I'd be taking the day of the Super Bowl off. That'd be a Seth holiday.
You'd be taking like a month off after.
Oh, yeah.
If the Vikings got to, and especially if they won the Super Bowl, nobody would see you for like a long time.
Yeah.
And I also got to emphatically deny Mr. I-100's take here that Halloween is lame. I think among this group, you will not find any support. We all fucking love Halloween because we all like dressing up in stupid ass costumes and running around like idiots. So Halloween that's maybe my favorite holiday. I would go so far as to say that.
Yeah, I think over the year, like there was this weird maybe 1-2 year in high school where Halloween was but like once you got to college, now especially as an adult, that is my favorite day of the year because I can be whoever. I mean, sure, I'm making videos and dressing up and doing weird things in a basement, but I get to take that on the road essentially and be whoever I want in a place of alcohol. So it's great.
I get to be a creep and no one notices me.
Yeah, but they're like, "Oh, I love your outfit." I'm like, "Hey."
Yeah. So I think that was a good topic. And I'll admit I came on pretty strong with the Christmas thing, but I think Valentine's Day is one we can all agree on. Fuck Valentine's Day, get it out the door. And oh gosh, we got even more Vikings fans in the chat. We should stop.
Jay.
There's too many.
Skull.
Too many Vikings fans in one place. We're all just going to start losing if we get too many of y'all together in one spot. So we need to dissipate a little bit. Man. Well, we're dissipating and we're titillating. And I think we're pretty well lubed up on the what holiday would you get rid of? Sounds like we're saying Valentine's Day or Christmas, either one. But that's gonna wrap up our titillating topic for the week.
Titillating topics.
Alrighty, so we have powered down the titillator for now, but we've got to turn to the Twitter machine. We got to check in with our favorite WWE legend. Time for some chic tweets.
I call you a punk.
hanging out with my buddy Sheik down here. What's up, man?
Oh, I thought you were punching him.
That's only for the people watching live. You audio listeners, you don't get to see that magic.
Yeah.
All right.
Eat shit.
All right, Iron Sheik getting in. He's doing some remixes now, some classic rap songs. Iron Sheik this week got the pen and paper, got the pad down, started writing some bars. He says, "Face down, booty up. That's the way I beat the fuck out of you and put you in my camel clutch. You no good jabroni piece of garbage."
Yeah. All right. Wow. Hashtag pickup lines. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Man. I really thought he was going to go sexual with the joke, but he started sexual with it and then went into, I'm going to beat you up. So it's confusing for me because I don't know if, I'm making an assumption, maybe this isn't fair, that the Iron Sheik is heterosexual. But it sounds like at the beginning he's talking to a lady and then he starts talking about how he's going to beat them up. And so that sounds incongruous. But then on the flip side of that, if he's talking to the man that he's talking to that he's going to beat up later, then that seems confusing to me as well. I think the Sheik's got some answers here, or he owes us some answers on this one. That's all I'm saying.
Iron Sheik, he has the answers himself. You don't need to know them. He picks and chooses when you need to know the answers. He lets you think about it, lets it marinate for a little bit. Someday, the answer will come to you.
Someday I'll understand.
Yeah.
I'll be struck by an Iron Sheik bolt of lightning and I'll understand. I'll tell you what, that has happened before because I know we can all agree on this. Who is the greatest singer of all time?
Rob Thomas.
Rob Thomas. Ooh, yeah. That's some Iron Sheik knowledge right there. dropping the stone cold facts. That's Sheik tweets.
I call you a punk.
All right, folks. Time to shout out our sponsors. First of all, audibletrial.com/SoCo. Hit the link in the description box. You're going to get 30 days of Audible and your first book for free. Free indeed. Mathis Designs. Head over to mathisdesigns.com. Find our good friend Steph over there. Hit her up for all your stationery and graphic design needs or to commission a piece of your own.
Get that piece.
Get that piece. We are graced today, I think, in the chat with the presence of Mike of Mike's Wood. So if you want to get yourself a piece of Mike's Wood, hit up etsy.com/shop/cornfedandwed to get your wood worked.
Oh, Mike.
Oh, Mike, indeed. If you're looking for some hot beats and some fresh lyrics, head over to Spotify. Link in the description box to Friday After Class. This is NPA and Jack on the weekends. You're going to want to link over there, get to the Spotify, follow that page because I still don't know when it's happening, but at some point, Glizzy's for Breakfast, which is the rap debut of Lil C-Man, is going to eventually be dropped there. So if you want to be a day one listener of... I was just shooting hot tracks or hot lyrics all over the track.
Oh, no.
And if you want to catch that on day one, you're going to need to get over to Spotify, Friday After Class, follow them, follow NPA over there as well so you can get new NPA tracks. Lots of great stuff over there, comedy, music. I mean, what more do you want? C-Man, it's all good stuff. There we go. Mr. Allen 100 with the shout out. Love it. Who's next here? Room 56. So this is NPA and our very own JB helping folks out with their creative endeavors. So room56studios.com. Anything to take your creative idea and make it a reality, from graphic design, video editing, audio editing, anything under the sun. If you've got an idea, head to room56studios.com. Talk to the guys about how they can bring it to life for you.
Waka waka.
And last but not least, Anchor, which is our podcast hosting service. If you're not with us on YouTube tonight, then you're likely listening to us on Anchor. So this is where we would typically go to an ad. I almost just did it on a reflex, but we don't have to do that here because we're live. So we're going to roll right through Anchor and give a shout out to our Anchor wankers. So these are the folks that went out to our Anchor page and became contributors, supporters. They clicked that support button and made a choice, $1, $2, $5, just kicking us a few shekels to keep the show going. And we really appreciate that. This is the list of the folks who have taken that step, and we definitely appreciate that. It's gone a long way for us, helping us get new equipment, helping us get new software, and all sorts of other great things, including some exciting things that we're working on now that we can't yet start talking about. So the best way to support the podcast is to go become an Anchor Wanker, and you'll get a special shout out on these monthly shows. So Mike, Jared, Casey, Anna, Tom, Mike, Tyler, Mackenzie, Brett, Kyle, Chrissy, Farts, and Dick and Balls. We really appreciate all of you. Thanks for your support of the show, and we hope you'll stick around. And for some of the folks who are in the chat who maybe aren't Anchor Wankers, we hope you'll hit us up on the Anchor page and click that contribute button and join the party here. So big shouts out to all of you. Also, we're at 13 Anchor Wankers right now. And when we get to 25, we're going to get a brand new exclusive premiere of an NPA track right here on the SoCo Show. So you're not going to want to miss that. If you're already an Anchor Wanker, we hope you'll spread the show out, share it with friends. And if you're not one yet, we hope you'll consider doing that. So big shouts out to all of our Anchor Wankers. We had no new ones this month. And so I'm not taking any shots tonight, but a hearty cheers to all of our Anchor Wankers out there. Thank you.
So one of the hosts of the show is a wanker. And then I wonder how many of these people just forgot that they have it on. Like, it's probably an auto renew, and they probably just forgot.
Hell yeah, man.
We should probably stop reminding them.
Yeah. Just take them off the list, but they're still getting the cash flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did just realize it did click in my mind. I'm like, so I'm paying for my own podcast.
Yeah. We would not be offended if you.
I'm just going to keep it going. Forever.
I think you're netting positive because I'm a patron of yours.
Yeah, see, there we go.
So am I.
So it's probably a zero sum. We should probably all just stop. Money back and forth to each other.
That's how we're money laundering, actually, but we're losing money because there's fees included somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and very slowly, we're money laundering at like $12 at a clip.
Yeah. We didn't really fully grasp Breaking Bad.
We sold like an ounce of meth 4 years ago, and it's going to take us 60 years of the podcast to clean all that money out.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You're stuck with us.
Slow game. Blame the slow game.
Yep.
Yeah, we would have quit a long time ago if it wasn't for the meth.
You know what? That's not an uncommon story here in America. Yeah. So anyway, where are we at here? We did our anchors. We did our sponsors. One more shout out to our Anchor Wankers. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
Wanker.
Things rolling here. Seth, we got to take a look at the headlines here. So let's get into our news or nonsense.
News or nonsense?
News or nonsense?
Got my buddy Donnie next to me too.
Hell yeah.
And some news about what looks to be someone who's wearing a bowl on their head. I can't tell what that newspaper is.
I think it's a mediocre
George Washington
sculpture of, I think it's Mother Teresa.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking Mother Teresa as well.
Well,
yeah, she's always in the news, you know.
Yeah,
she is. All right, let's read some headlines. All right, so we'll start off here. We'll have 3 headlines. Jared and Cody will try and guess whether it's the headline is real or if it is something I made up entirely. Before we start, as a tiebreaker, they're gonna wager or guess how many of the stories will be nonsense this week. Jared, you won last week. Why don't you go first?
I'm going with 2 again.
You're wagering
going
2.
With 2.
2. All right. Cody?
He wants 2. Wait, sorry. Is that 2 nonsense?
Nonsense.
Okay. I think they're all nonsense this week.
Ooh,
they're all nonsense.
A nonsense-heavy live show. That would not be surprising.
Well, let's see.
I'll give you the top. They want.
I'll give you the overall theme here, and we'll see if maybe you feel better or worse about your pick, just based off the theme. The theme this week is beans.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about the nonsense on the beans.
All right. Well, I think the news is about to start. I think we'll go ahead with the first headline. Breaking news. Man sits in bean dip for 24 hours to promote California restaurant. Is this news or nonsense?
Oh,
So he sits in bean dip. Not
Yeah.
like a queso, a guac, a nice
No, bean
salsa,
dip.
a bean dip. Refried bean. That is disgusting. First. If any restaurant did that, shut him down instantly.
this is nonsense. This is nonsense. I'll tell you why. Because one, nobody brags about their bean dip. By the way, Jill popping in with absolutely an incredible suggestion. All right, so the beans are cooled. Nobody brags about their bean dip. It would be something different that they wanted to promote. But the other thing I will say is, isn't anything that you sit in technically bean dip?
Shut it down.
I don't need
We
any
got-
credit for
we
that
got-
one.
we gotta shut
I'm
it
giving
down.
myself all of the
No.
support that I need.
Shut it
so I
down.
don't need to hear it from you guys.
You got to
That's
get back
okay.
on stage real soon, man.
You know, they say it's
All
like
right.
riding a bike. Well, I think you might need training wheels.
Well, I don't know why this. What? Why is this what we're talking about now?
Intervention.
The story's
time.
nonsense, Seth.
Okay, so he's saying it's nonsense. I gotta agree. I mean, I'm telling you, if you fill up a nice hot tub full of cheesy queso or something, I'm jumping in, I'm hanging out. But bean dip, no thank you. So this is nonsense.
Nonsense?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and hit the drum roll. This is news.
What?
Fuck you. Fuck you. I don't like you at all.
Do you have any context? I know you don't read them. You just get the
This one I
headlines.
did not read. I just saw the headline, and that's what inspired me to do a bean theme this week. So
Do you know the year?
I saw it. It's a recent story, I think.
Seth, do you mind if I interrupt this broadcast with some breaking news?
Break yourself, fool! And that's when you break! Tight.
This happens almost every time that we talk about taking shots. We got 2 new anchor wankers. And so
Ooh.
I'm going to need to take a couple of shots here. But I'll be honest with you, I don't have anything next to me besides this. So in a second, I'm going to have to go in the other room and get me some liquor. I'll do it after news or nonsense. I got to finish whooping Jared's ass on this first.
Well, you're both tied at zeros, so
Well, you know.
Cody's already incorrect on the on his wager as well. Just for anyone playing along at home. Will Jared be correct on his wager though? Who knows? All right. Next headline.
Oh, there's a picture of this dude, and it is disgusting.
Oh, God.
Why'd I look it up?
Pull it up.
No. Okay, when you read the next one, I'll pull it up.
All
I'll
right.
send this to myself.
Next headline.
I was upset about losing the bet, but I forgot that meant that was in fact a real thing and someone actually did that, which is way more upsetting than losing the bet. So we got to move on quick. Yeah, I agree, Seth. Let's go.
Yeah.
This just in. Florida law enforcement takes down a suspect with a can of baked beans. Is this news or nonsense?
Okay. I think it's nonsense. I think straight away it's nonsense. I don't want to give my context. I don't want to give my clues as to why I think it's nonsense because I don't want to give it away to Jared. But it sounds like it might be news, Jared. I would encourage you to select that one.
So, guy throws can of beans at police officer? Is that what it
No,
was?
Florida law enforcement takes down a suspect with a can of beans.
I mean, pretty much the same thing, right?
You said take down law enforcement.
Oh, I mean, it's Florida. That's what I got from it.
Wait, so hold on. Sorry. The cop used a can of beans to take the guy down, or the
Yeah.
guy had a can of beans and they
And
took
threw
him
it
down?
at cop.
No, he uses the can of beans to take him down. So,
So
like, he
cop throws can of
it.
beans at person.
Yeah.
100% news. It's Florida.
All right, so Jared says news. Cody
Yeah.
says nonsense. We're gonna
No,
have
they're
a correct person
slinging
here.
beans down there, man.
Bean slinger. All right, drum roll, please. News.
Oh, fuck you.
I know my Florida news.
God damn it. I was like, first of all, there's no way this happened. And second of all, I think you made up Florida because Florida's like the fun one to pick on when it's crazy shit. As soon as I heard Florida, I was like, this one's made up. I've got to get rid of my nonsense leaning bias. I'm losing now. This fucking sucks.
Also, I'm going to show you the Bean Man right now.
Bean Man.
Bean Man!
I wish you wouldn't.
Well, here it goes, everyone. Here's the
Turn
Bean
away
Man.
from your screens,
Oh, that's not
folks.
it. Hold
Our
on. Where'd it
audio
go?
is-
Where'd it
Food
go?
and wine.
Ooh,
No thanks.
food and wine.
There he
Frank
is,
and
Bean
beans.
Man. Look at that.
Wait, what?
Look
Oh,
at that.
that-
He's in a pool. Not a
Can you
hot
blow
tub.
up that
That's a
picture?
pool. I'll try to zoom in a little bit. Didn't make it bigger?
There you go.
Oh,
Look at that. And he got a tattoo while in it.
Nice. Bloody beans.
Oh.
Bloody beans and
I
ink.
bet- I don't want to be profiling, but that looks exactly like the kind of guy I would have thought would do this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Okay.
If someone was going to do it, I'm not surprised
Black.
it was that guy.
Sorry, everyone that's watching. You had to see some Bean Man.
Bean
Not only
Man.
hear Bean Man.
All right.
Bean Man,
Well, Jared takes.
together with your beans.
Cody, actually, yeah, Cody's got to get this next one, right?
Yeah, Jared takes a 1-0 lead here, and we're on our third and final headline. And I think I can
fucked.
hear it's coming fresh off the presses right now.
Fajitas?
Oh, I spilled my whiskey.
This just in.
This is in. I need more whiskey. UK woman finds note and baked beans on car after leaving it parked by a gate. Is this news or nonsense?
So she parked it by a gate and someone just left a note and beans on the car?
Yeah.
News.
Yeah, I mean, if you made this up, this is the most boring made up thing you would ever do. That's why I'm thinking it's got to be news. But then again, if it did make it up, it's pretty easy because it's just like, hey.
They poured baked beans on the car and left a note. That was the punishment.
Oh, wait. Oh, I thought they just set a can of beans. Like,
No,
hey,
no.
Here's
They
a can of
poured-
beans and here's a note.
No, leave us baked beans.
Oh. Yeah, this is news.
There is whiskey all over my floor.
Yeah, what if Kyle threw a wild card out? What if one of these is never news or nonsense? Yeah.
I don't know how that would be. I guess it's
Me
one or the
neither.
other, right?
Yeah, I don't actually now thinking about it. I don't know what it would be.
All right. Well, drum roll,
I was
please.
taking some recreationals. I think I'm buried here. Give me the bad news.
Nah, news.
Yeah.
Man, you just stuffed me at the rim with that one because you knew I couldn't beat you if we fucking tied, and so you agreed with me. But I respect the game. I respect the
Yep.
hustle.
Yep.
I guess I'll hit the fucking sounder for you. I'm gonna hit the sounder, and then I want you to take me out because I gotta go get some liquor, and I'll give you a couple minutes to gloat.
For 3 for the win. Yes! LeBron James at the buzzer.
Yeah.
As the 2-week
everybody your victory
news
speech.
or nonsense winner, I am taking this show on the road. We're going on a 30. I don't even know. When you take something on the road, what do you call it? Sites, venues,
City?
There we go. 30 city tour right now. Seth and Cody
the
don't
Bean
know
Man?
this, but they need to leave their jobs right now. I actually called their bosses and said, hey, they quit. So Seth, you don't have a job to go to tomorrow.
Shucky darns.
Yeah. Also, did he play us out of this segment?
He
'Cause
played
then
the,
I could do that.
he played the LeBron James sound for you, but he didn't play the
So
the
we
news
are
or
actually
nonsense.
legally still in this segment.
Yeah.
Not
It's Cody's
technically,
fault.
legally, we're still in here. Cody, you missed. I said that we were going on a 30-city tour with this show, and I actually called both of your bosses. You guys have quit as of today, so congratulations, and I don't apologize.
I'm gonna need way more than 2 shots if that happens. I'll tell for the folks at home. So shout out to our new anchor wankers, and I'll shout you out by name in just a second. I'm drinking warm vodka because I'm punishing myself for losing the game for a second week in a row. So,
Yum 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 yum. And thank you to the wankers that Cody will be getting to.
I just completely missed and poured that all over my desk.
Man, we're spilling liquor everywhere.
Oh man, that was a mistake. There's vodka everywhere. This is gonna smell like vodka. I don't know how I'm gonna work tomorrow.
Well, you don't have to. You quit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Turns out I have tomorrow off. Oh my god, everything is covered. This is bad. Okay, well we roll on. That's live TV for you. So we have 2 anchor wankers to shout out. I'm going to shout out the first right now, and it's Abby. Hi, Abby. We're glad that you've joined Anchor Wankership. Welcome to the club. Thank you for your contribution. This one's for you. Cheers, Abby.
Ting.
Half of my
Ooh.
whiskey is on the ground now.
How is warm room temperature Grey Goose vodka? Tell
Delicious.
us. Tell the
It
viewers.
was the punishment I deserved for what
The
happened.
water of the gods.
So, not my gods.
The water
Yeah.
of the gods.
Man.
Zeus.
Well, have you had enough gloating? Did you get it all out, or do we need to stay in here?
I didn't need any time to gloat. I am a very humble. I just know that I'm going to keep winning. 2 weeks in a row. I can't be stopped.
Well, that's really humble of you, Jared.
Yes.
I'm glad that you shared that with everybody. So.
I think Jared's going to keep the streak going. He's on a roll right now. He's not even being touched. Like you aren't even close these last 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
you were
I don't wanna hear it.
You were completely wrong. You were entirely wrong. You didn't even get the wager right. You were complete opposite on the wager.
News or nonsense.
News or nonsense?
I love that he's the
I didn't mean to-
captain.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you in the middle of something there?
No, I mean, we'll bring it up next week.
Yeah. I mean, nobody doesn't know that I'm a bad loser. So don't worry. I'll come back with even more fervor next week, and I'll reclaim my crown. Don't worry about
He's
that.
going to go through all the episodes we've done this and do like a chart of like all the news and nonsense and like all the wagers and all that. He's gonna
you think I won't?
He's gonna moneyball this.
Yeah, you will moneyball this. Oh no.
That's why
I opened up the wrong can of beans on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was beating me is not a good one. That's why they call me Moneyballs Michael, because I moneyball everything.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
That's not really what they call me. It's
Squirrel nuts.
Jay. I got to shout out Jay again, referencing the Templeton Rye. That's an Iowa exclusive. Jay, you must be a Midwest guy or an Iowa guy. Between that and the Viking stuff, shouts out to you. I love the connection to the Midwest there. All right. Let's see. And Dan is in here. Everyone wants to pile on Co for losing, and I understand that. But don't worry. I'll just use all this as fuel, and fuel not just to win the next game, but for a way over the top celebration once I do. We're talking like Apollo Creed in the 4th Rocky movie when he first comes out. That's going to be like that level of celebration.
Then he
When,
dies
Yeah,
immediately
doesn't he
after.
die?
Yeah, that's not. It's not going to be another boxing match after it. I'm just saying I'm going to have a way too long and unnecessary dance sequence to a James Brown song. I felt like
Okay.
it doesn't mean I'm going to die, but if I do, then it's going to inspire one of you to become a world champion fighter after that. So I think maybe
Well, I
we'll
think
just
it'd
do
be
the
Jared
Rocky
in this
Fourth one.
case because he's been your opponent.
No, I think
And-
it's Seth. I mean, think about all the training he has been doing in VR and his watching the game tape of Creed and all of the Rocky movies. Like, this guy has a fighter written all over him.
It was funny. We had the projector up, so we'll talk about it a little bit more later. But I brought a projector to Jared's for South by Southwest, and I was doing like in Creed when he's watching the tape of his dad versus Rocky, and he's doing the shadow boxing. I was doing that on the on the projector.
Mm-hmm. Between every movie,
I also
he'd get up and do some shadow boxing.
I also had to make out with Olivia Munn a little bit, on the in the projector.
Yeah, yeah, he had to.
As one does, I suppose.
Yes.
Wow.
It
That's a lot to
was
unpack.
after Jared went to bed.
I fucking hope so. Jesus. So, you know what? Kyle actually just brought up Jay's just dropping all the Iowa stuff in there. Fong's Pizza,
Yeah.
that's legendary.
Look at this.
Kyle brings up a good point. Seth and I both have bird shirts on today, Jared, and I guess you just disregarded the email we sent, or?
American Eagle, does that count?
It does! It does
Yeah.
count. Yes! 3 for 3. Wow.
Bada boom.
Oh, man. All right, where are we? I lose.
Ask myself that every
Abby's
single
new
week we
anchor
record.
wanker. Big shouts out to Abby once again for becoming a new anchor wanker. Our second
Wanker.
anchor wanker. I know you know who you
Wanker.
are. You'll get a shout out later on in the show. We got to move on. We got a lot more stuff to talk about. Where are we at? We just did news or nonsense. All right, we're going to talk about that projector and that South by Southwest trip that you guys just had. Let's get into what did you. So you guys got to enjoy South by Southwest from home, the virtual South by. Jared, you got access to it because you didn't get access last year at the beginning of quarantine. I remember we were down there with Jill and NPA. Actually, no, NPA wasn't down there yet. We were down there with Jill in Austin last year, and South by kind of got the kibosh put on it. And so this year you got to attend virtually. Seth drove over to Des Moines and watched a bunch of movies with you. You guys got the projector in the mix. Tell everyone at home about your experience last week.
Yeah, which, again, I was taking out the trash today, and I was like, man, that was a week ago. Like, that seems like an eternity ago. Time flies, but daily, I don't know. Time is weird. But yeah, basically last year I was supposed to go to South by Southwest down in Austin, Texas. Shout out to them, and they canceled it. So they gave me a pass to this year, but also I was approved as press. So it's this weird thing where it's like, well, I already paid to go, but then I also got the press thing, so I didn't have to pay to go. So that's a whole thing. But yeah, just a bunch of movies. Tuesday into Saturday, I think it was, Seth.
Yep.
Yeah, Seth came down Wednesday night. We recorded a podcast in person, and then we just basically watched movie, every 2 hours or whatever. Everything was on demand, so whatever we felt like watching, we just turned on, watched a bunch of movies that we'll probably talk about a little bit. But the highlight was the projector that's I'm going to let Seth talk about, but also food. Just,
God.
It was junk food after junk food after movie after junk food.
Yep.
Basically, imagine, literally, I just laid on a couch for 4 days. That's basically what I did, watching movie after movie after movie, and then shoveling pizza and donuts and burgers into my gullet, essentially. So, that's my takeaway from it. Seth, how was your experience? Was I a good host? I'll first say that.
Definitely a good host. We got to put all the actually right behind where Jared is, where that poster is up there, the long shot one. That's where we projected it up there, and the wall looks kind of smaller, but it was probably like 100 and some inches. It looked like a movie theater screen.
Whoa, no need to brag.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you cut that in half, and that's reality.
Smoke and mirrors, man.
The only thing is, I wish it had a better sound setup. I had to have it full blast, and it was there were some issues with that. We still heard it all, but could have been better. But the projector was awesome. It actually felt like, we were talking, it made the experience better just because it felt like a theater. We were in it the whole time. I barely looked at my phone for like 4 days. It was great. And then we also, I think Friday and Saturday night we played Fall Guys. So the three of us got online and played. So I played Fall Guys on a 105-inch screen, which was pretty fun too. Didn't help. Actually, it was worse. I did terrible. But But the movies, it's like the movies themselves. I think it's interesting because like South by typically is a little bit more of the indie festival. You get a lot more like kind of like niche or interesting films. You get a ton of documentaries. So we watched a lot of those. Like where Sundance is a little bit more of like this is what you'll probably likely see around Oscar time and throughout your art house movies throughout the year or whatever. South by is a little bit more of the niche stuff, but still saw a lot of great movies. Highlight for me probably was the documentary called Clerk, which is the Kevin Smith documentary that goes over his career. That's the first thing we watched Thursday morning, and it kicked it off perfectly. It was everything I wanted. Told his story. I learned things that I didn't know about him in it, which was awesome. I've been hearing stuff about him for 12 years, or at least stuff I hadn't seen before. But then there's just a lot of really great little movies. Mark Duplass has one with Natalie Morales. Is that? It's just those two. It's called Language Lessons. Yep. And she is teaching him Spanish, and there's some events, but it takes place over Zoom, like a kind of like a searching like through the screen type thing. It's like a Zoom conversation.
And not to discount that movie at all, but we both turned to each other afterwards. We enjoyed it. We loved it. One of our favorites of it, I would assume. But we were like, we could make a movie like this.
Yeah. Oh, we could totally make a movie like it.
We should make a movie like
this.
And it wasn't even over Zoom for the pandemic. It was just like this is what would happen.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how people teach language stuff online. You know, she got them they got language classes over the internet, so that's kind of how they do it. So it exists.
So you mean to tell me there's a service I can sign up for, and it will connect me via Zoom to Natalie Morales, and she will teach me Spanish.
Yep.
All right, say no more.
Yep. I'll send you the contact information.
You guys got links? I want to hear more about some of the other movies, but two other things too. Seth, I want to know about your projector and whether you'd recommend it for the folks at home who might have been thinking about getting a projector. And then Jared, I want to know how the virtual experience of South by compared to Sundance, which was also recently.
The projector, you have to have a decent wall or a screen for it. A screen is probably preferred. But you have to have a wall that's like really big enough to make it worth it. And it doesn't have a ton of like the spackle stuff on it. And doesn't have like a bunch of screws because that can get distracting. But if you're getting one just for like, you know, every once in a while pop a movie up there, maybe have some games played up there, then I think, if you can find the one I got was on sale, normally like $300. I got it for like $100. So if you can find a good sale on one, I think, definitely go for it. I think the picture's going to be better than you think. I was expecting crap. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. Honestly, I was going to be like, okay, we'll try it out for a movie or two. If it sucks, then we'll just go to the TV. That's what I thought was going to happen. And with I mess around with it a lot because that's what I do with screens and stuff. But by the time I messed around with it and got the focus right and all the coloring settings and everything, I thought it looked really good. I thought it looked like a movie theater. So, you know, at least like a one from when we were kids. You know, it wasn't like the digital, you know, like digital
the new
experience,
stuff, the
and all that
high
stuff.
def, yeah.
Right. But it looked like a theater screen. So I thought it was great and I'd recommend it.
Yeah, that's the thing
awesome.
is like him bringing the projector again. I didn't know. I'm gonna be honest, maybe a little skeptical. But once we got it up and going, and it was in 1280 or 720 or whatever?
It was in 1080p. Yeah,
HD. We were able to bump it up or whatever somehow. I don't know. But basically, I think he conned me into being like, I need to buy one of these just for screeners, and every now and then, because it was so weird because we watched all of Sundance on the TV. That one, I can't. That one.
Right there.
It's hard to look in the screen.
I got it for you. Right there.
That TV, and then like looking at the projector compared to that one, I'm like, that TV's way too small now. Like I need a full wall picture and whatnot. So that was really cool. But some of the movies that we watched, and we only watched, there was probably another half, like, or two times as like, we watched maybe half the movies that were available. There's quite a few that were, up for us to watch. And the first day, these are movies that I watched myself, and one of them that really stood out to me was it's called Hysterical, and it kind of covered and featured like these female comedians that have been in the business for X amount of years, and then also went back in history of kind of who the first ones were and kind of how the business is different when you're a female and this and that. And I thought it was awesome just to see, because I've slowly become more and more wanting to be in that comedy world or know what's going on and kind of the inner workings. And it's just kind of their story of like, hey, if you want to make it, you know, you got to go up 5, 7, 8 nights a week, and, you know, the grind and this and that, but also like how it's changed over the last like 5 or 10 years. I think this is one that, Cody, you should definitely check out when and if it's available. I don't know where it's coming out on. But
I think it's coming to Hulu.
Disney Plus.
I think I read that it's coming to there, and it's getting in my queue. I gotta, anything comedy related gets into my queue.
Yeah, that one's any comedy fan out there, definitely check it out, because it's funny, but also very kind of, I mean, I got a little bit emotional, you know, because it was like watching these people that were going after their dream, and it's that thing with the Travis interview we had a few weeks back of like, you know, there's doubt here or there, but it's like, how much or how bad do you want it, essentially? So that was really cool. Again, another crazy couple documentaries. This was a very much documentary-heavy festival. Clerk, I really enjoyed. There's a few others. There's one that I think, Seth, you enjoyed as well, Alien on Stage. Essentially, oh man, it's like this British or UK like bus company, and they do plays every single year for charity. And all of a sudden they wanted to do the movie Alien. And it is such like this underdog crazy story, because it didn't do well essentially the first like couple nights, but then someone showed up, aka the person that made the documentary, and was like, I love this, and ended up getting them on the biggest stage, I think in London, for them to perform this movie to stage adaptation of it. It's crazy, because like, again, Seth and I were watching this and I'm like, they cannot get this together by the end, and I'm sitting here stressing out, sweating for them, because it is like 10 minutes till showtime and they don't even know their lines. And I'm like, this is gonna be a disaster. But it is such like, that is another one that I think you should check out, just to see this crazy journey of these people who should not, basically where they got to and the stage that they played and how much love there is for that movie. That was just a wonderful one for myself. Seth, I don't know if there's any other ones that you really that stood out to you.
Yeah, a couple more quick. The Fallout. That it's basically a story of essentially the emotional fallout after a school shooting. And it's obviously some heavy stuff, but it's also presented through the eyes of a teenager, and kind of like, because it's more about what happens after, they try and move it into more of a light tone as it goes on. So it's kind of like that what they feel after, and then the coming out of that, essentially. There's just one girl who they focus the story on, and then like it shows like how some people are, after this happens to them in their school, some people take action and want to change things and make things better, and others become sad and depressed and all that stuff. And so it's kind of like that grief process and how people handle it. Shailene Woodley's in it, so she plays a really brief part. She plays like a therapist in it. So there are some, I think it's a movie that'll eventually come out, so people will be able to see that. And then there's another one called Violet, with Olivia Munn. I mentioned her earlier, that I was making out with her on the projector.
That movie took 3 hours to watch, and it was only an hour and a half.
But the reason I like this one, it was really stylized. There was like writing and like white cursive on the screen that were kind of like her thoughts or her true feelings of stuff that was going on. There was also like an internal voice in her head that was like talking to her and kind of putting her down and things. So like the writing was like the truth and how she wanted to feel. The voice was talking to her and telling her like negative things,
like doubt.
And so it's yeah, exactly. And so there's kind of like a struggle that's going on through the text that's writing, and also what's actually happening. And then she'll voice kind of in the middle sometimes, like in real life. So it's really interesting. There's some cool things with color, like violet, what they're talking about. There's this violet light that appears throughout the movie that symbolizes some certain things. So I liked it a lot. I thought it was just really interesting and stylized. I know there's a few other movies too that I can't think of off the top of my head. I have a list.
Swan Song.
Yeah, that's another good one. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Jared.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to sit here and review movies for all of you that you might not see or will see. But it's like this aged out hairdresser, and he goes on one last hurrah to do the makeup of one of his biggest clients or most intimate client. Like, they had this relationship for 30 plus years of him doing her hair literally like once or twice a week. Mm-hmm. And it was doing her hair up for her funeral. And it's essentially like him getting her from his nursing home to the funeral. And he runs into all of these different people from his past and whatnot. It was very quirky and fun and kind of like this underdog comeback type movie. That one was really cool for sure. But no, it was a fun experience. I think a lot of fun movies, a cool projector, but then you had just tons and tons of food that I'm
I bet you guys
trying
ate
to
like
work
fucking
out.
kings.
Oh yeah, we had breakfast pizza, we had deep dish pizza, we had donuts, we had burgers, we had tacos, we had what am I missing here?
Applebee's.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't had Applebee's it's been years since I've had Applebee's.
Really?
Half
we don't
price
have them
apps,
here.
man. Half price.
We don't have them out here in Oregon.
If
So
we're
it's
talking
been at
about-
least since I moved to Oregon, I haven't had Applebee's.
Wow. If we're talking about restaurants, though, so I'm getting my second vaccine shot next week. Pretty pumped. And one of the things I'm most pumped about is going back to get some food at a restaurant, eating at a
Texas
restaurant.
Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
I already have plans
Roadhouse.
made. I already have plans made for like 2 weeks to go to Roadhouse, and I cannot wait. I haven't been there for it's probably been a year and a half now, and I cannot wait to just shove a buttery cinnamon roll right down my gullet.
Man, I do miss Texas Roadhouse. I miss Texas Roadhouse, and I miss we got Bernie there. I miss Texas Roadhouse and Applebee's, and I feel like I'm bummed. I missed out on your guys' fun movie experience. It sounds like you had a great time with South by. The only other thing I'm wondering is, Jared, so you did South by virtually and you did Sundance virtually. Mm-hmm. Do you like the virtual film festival? I'm not certain you've gotten a chance to be at one physically, but are you liking the way these virtual things go? Are you looking forward to the day when it's in person, or do you like this setup?
I think the whole in-person thing is the pro, and again, I have not been to a physical one yet, but I think it's the whole networking. It's meeting these people that you only know of personas online, and then connecting with them, going to a movie with them, then coming out and talking about that movie, maybe going and having drinks with them and stuff like that. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I love what they've been doing so far, because we can watch movies on our own time and as many as we want. Because I think I mentioned to Seth quite a few times, I think during this one and even back at Sundance, where if we were doing this in person, we're standing in line, we're seeing maybe a third of the movies that we actually watched.
Can't bring a deep dish pizza in there with you.
I mean, your pockets are only so deep, you can maybe get one, maybe two slices. I mean, you're going to have to put spaghetti in a bag, and no one wants to bag spaghetti in a movie theater.
Spaghetti in a bag. I don't care what else happens. Spaghetti in a bag is going to be the title of this episode. I just love the whole idea of spaghetti in a bag is attractive to me.
Man.
Wow.
And
Man.
yes, to the comments, Jay, we did have Hertz donuts, and they were delicious.
We had a lot of donuts because we had
18.
We had to, because so there was a deal on Uber Eats that was you had to, it was $15 off, but you had to spend $20 for it to kick in, for the promo code to kick in, and a dozen donut, like their donuts that they just put randomly in a box, is like $19.50 or $75 or some shit. So I'm like, well, we're getting some glazed donuts too. So we got half a dozen glazed and a dozen of the crazy ass flavors.
Yeah, because I I woke up a little late that day, and the donuts were almost there. I'm like,
Yeah.
so what'd you get? And I was like, well, I got a dozen, but then I had to get 6 glazed ones, too. I'm like, what are we going to do with all these donuts?
Man, I've never been more jealous, honestly, that you guys got so many Glazers. Glazers are my favorite. I know that there are more distant horizons than the glazed donut, but I think they nailed it when they got to the glazed donut. I don't really need a cookie jammed in the side of my donut. I'll just take
See,
the
we could have had you here because I'm not much of a glazer, so you could have demolished those 6 while I take on the other 6 of crazy shoving Oreo into like a Reese's into a donut, you know?
Yeah. I don't need Oreoception as much as some others do. So next time, I'll come join you guys and I'll eat all the Glazers. So that'll be good.
There we go.
South by Southwest, raging success from the sound of it. Get yourself a projector. Get yourself a press pass to South by Southwest. A lot easier said than done. But it sounds like a handful of good movies, really good movies that are going to be coming out. So keep an eye out for some of the ones that the guys mentioned. And that's what we did last week. All right, we got a lot to talk about in What Do You Think this week? So we better dive right into it.
What do you think?
All right, so we got some news. We got a lot of news stories, and a topic.
Stories.
So
Nude
I gotta know what
story.
I don't know what you guys think of all these things. And by the way, I realized while you guys were talking about South by Southwest that I for whatever reason that vodka shot just slapped me across the face. So shouts out to Abby Belvin. But hour 2 of the SoCo Show is going to be a challenge for me. But
Take the wheels off, baby.
Jesus, take the wheel. Let's start with a quickie piece of news here. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. If you don't know,
Sucks.
is the best movie ever made, hands down. And what we found out this week is that it's going to be returning to cinemas. So April 30th, there's going to be Scott Pilgrim vs. the World returning to the movie theater for 1 week only, and it's going to be upgraded in terms of the picture and the sound. I guess they've upgraded the picture and sound with Dolby, I believe, is helping them do this. And so an upgraded version of the film is going to be available, again, for 1 week only. So I think a lot of our listeners are probably fans of this movie. It's my favorite movie ever. And so I'm hoping my theater gets opened. We're going to talk more about that in a second in time to go see this. But highly, highly, highly recommend, if you haven't seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, or if you haven't seen it lately, you're going to want to check out this screening. It sounds, Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos sound. So it's going to be basically like it came out today. And the cast of Scott Pilgrim, the look of it, the style, the sound of it is all already incredible. So I think this is going to be a real Gene Creamer once it comes out.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's nasty.
Are you guys will you guys be going out to this? Are you as stoked as I am?
Well, hey.
Surprisingly, go ahead.
I was gonna say when you have SoCo theaters over here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, with the projector at my house, you don't need a Dolby Atmos and blah blah blah. You got this fucking professional. I'm gonna blast it up on my wall. It's gonna look beautiful.
I surprisingly, I think like a day or two before this news broke, and I sent it to you, Cody. I watched it on Netflix actually, and I was like, "Damn, this movie is so good." So I think I might, because it has been I haven't been to the movie theater in a while. I think Godzilla vs. Kong is going to be my first big outing, and then Mortal Kombat. But then I will probably treat myself at the end of April to this movie.
Yeah, I mean, as Mr. I-100 said it best. It's cinema at its finest. Everything you want in a movie is in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And I cannot stress this enough. If you have not seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to go see it now for the first time. And I promise you, it will fucking blow you away. I promise. And if you hate it, you can come back to Old Co. and you can say, I hated Scott Pilgrim, but that will not happen. I am telling you. So if you have never seen this movie, wait until April 30th and go watch it in the theaters. And for the folks that have already seen it, you got to go see it again, right? Seth, I know you've seen the movie. I know you like it. Maybe not as much as I do, but you're going to go back out and see this again, right? You're not really going to do the SoCo theaters at home.
Why wouldn't I? It's free admission, except for you.
You got Dolby Atmos sound on that fucking
fuck
projector
yeah.
yours, Seth?
Yeah, I do. I just put a couple earbuds in. Sounds like I'm right there.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll probably go check it out though. I'm actually going to my app right now to see if they have any. You said April 30th?
Yeah, that's still a ways away.
Nothing in there yet.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, yeah, if it's playing on like the big screen, the DLX screen with the Dolby Atmos sound, because they actually have the Atmos sound in there. Yeah, I'd probably go check it out. If they're playing it in the rinky-dink small one, then I'm gonna stay at the SoCo theaters. I'm gonna blast it up on the wall.
You should somehow file like a thing to be a business and charge admission. Like 5-6 people a day can come into your establishment. You can show them a movie.
Well, we talked about there's a theater here in Cedar Rapids that may not open back up after this pandemic, and it's like that would be a cool idea if we were to just scoop up a theater and do the SoCo theaters and play a bunch of our favorite movies and new movies, and I could be the projectionist.
They have to watch our podcast too.
Oh yeah, we'd have a podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast theater.
You're onto something.
We should start an entire business and purchase a movie theater for a lot of money, just so we can have a room to do our podcast in. I think that,
and then a place to watch movies.
I would tell any of my financial planning clients that is smart to do. So Dan hits us with a good comment and then the worst comment ever. But referring to Seth blasting his projector screen up onto the wall, not the only thing he blasts up onto the wall.
Oh, that's nasty.
I would agree. Dan gets the rim shot there. But then he also says he hated Scott Pilgrim, which makes me want to slap him twice. And so I don't know whether or not to give Dan credit. I think we got to give him a hiss. Yeah.
Now, don't you have two? Don't you have a slap or punch sound you can give him? Two of
Oh,
those.
yeah.
That's like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh!
Sorry.
He's on the
I
ropes.
just can't.
He's on the
I don't know
ropes.
what to-
He's
I'm not even
down.
cooking it anymore.
Wow.
Sorry, had to deal with Dan. Anyway,
Dan is done.
so Scott Pilgrim, April 30 is when that is dropping in theaters. So check out your local listings on your theaters, and you may be able to
Cineplex.
go and see this. It's a high recommend from the SoCo dudes here. So next story. Speaking of movie theaters, I have been really keeping track of Regal because that's what I have here in Bend, Oregon. And Regal Theaters has announced that they're going to be reopening starting as early as next week in some cases, so April 2nd. There are going to be a lot of theaters in the U.S. For Regal that are opening up. And if you'll remember, back about around September, Regal opened up along with everybody else, but then they decided, AMC and the other large chains decided they were going to stay open and try to continue to sell tickets, and they've done so on a smaller scale, albeit. But Regal said, we're going to completely close up, and then we'll reopen when it's time. And it sounds like it's time. Regal theaters are opening up, select theaters April 2nd. So if you have a Regal theater locally, check your local listings. You may have screenings starting up next week. Godzilla vs. Kong is the big release for next week. So some folks can go check that out in the theater. I'm going to try to hold out and see that in the theater now that I know theaters are going to be opening. But if you're a Regal person, you're going to want to keep an eye out for your theater coming back, whether it's for that movie or Mortal Kombat later in April. You're going to get I think a pretty good initial movie for your first trip back. I know I'm really excited. But I think the bigger news with Regal this last week, for the folks who maybe aren't Regal theater goers like myself, is that Regal has now entered into a relationship with WB that will allow for exclusive theatrical rights for their major films. And so starting in 2022, from release date for the first 45 days, the only theaters you'll be able to see WB movies in will be Regal theaters. Now, what we don't know is whether or not HBO Max is going to continue to release these movies on the same day, which I think is going to be a really key. It sounds like they're not.
They're not. I saw an article today that says they're not.
And this is 2022?
Yeah.
2022. So
They're continue
they-
all.
they were-
Yeah, they said all of their movies will continue to come out on HBO Max through the end of this year, and then starting 2022 is when they'll be going back to theaters. The only thing I'm unclear about now, though, reading the newest article, is that they've come to an agreement with Regal about exclusively being in theaters. I didn't read this new one didn't specifically say Regal Theater, only Regal Theaters is just, but could potentially be just movie theater. So there's some conflicting information going around on this, but continue.
Yeah. So when we read this the other day, and we talked about this a little bit ahead of time, we read it as in only Regal theaters are going to be able to show this. So your AMC, your Marcus, not going to have these movies. So for now, let's assume that's the information we have, and it's going to be only Regal. What do you guys think of this as a move for them? Because I think on the one hand, that's a value add, right? I have a Regal. I get to see WB movies. I'm excited about that. There's not a Regal in either of your towns. So you're either going to have to drive a long way or wait for a movie. And I'm sure it's obvious that that's going to piss you off. I get that. But Regal is like the second or third biggest chain in the world. So most people at least have access to a Regal. Do you think this is a sign that we're going to start getting more of these exclusive distributor to theater relationships? Or do you think this is a misstep by Regal that they're going to end up unwinding in 6 months because it's going to be such a decrease in the amount of people that can see the WB movies?
I think that it's a risk that they're going either way on right now. I think that they're banking on movie theaters not being fully back by 2022. They are taking the sure money now with the deal that they got and saying, you get the first shot at it, you pay us this amount of money, here you go. And saying that this is our profit for the year for the most part in these theater chains. Because Regal is a lot on specifically California, and we saw with California opening up recently, people wanted to go back to the theaters. They sold out shows and had to shut down some theaters again because they were worried about people going and getting COVID. So I think they're banking on that. I think financially, it makes sense financially for if they are banking on them not coming back. I think the issue is they may have pulled the trigger a little too soon, because what if by August, September, theaters are fully back, movies are making $70, $80, $100 million a weekend again. Then they limit a lot of that first weekend potential with AMC, which is the largest theater chain. They lose out on that. Because people are going to be probably torrenting it, or I think a lot of people will probably boycott a lot of these movies and wait for VOD or whatever. So I think this is all just a gamble, and they're banking on theaters not coming back for a bit.
Mr. I-100 says after the 45 days, they're going to go on HBO Max. So folks who don't have Regals, which it sounds like is a lot of folks in the chat, Dan doesn't have them. Sounds like I-100, you've got some options there, but neither of you guys have this. So 45 days later, you're able to see it on HBO Max, which isn't great. I mean, we're the kind of guys, we like to see shit opening weekend. So for some people, maybe that's great. For others, it's not. Jared, what's your take on this?
I guess I'm baffled, because I did at first read it as going to Regal, but also you can watch on an HBO Max. So if you don't have Regals, boom, you're paying for HBO Max. You're getting that, they're getting that revenue and that growth on the platform and everything like that. Because the Regal, I mean, I looked it up. They only have 550, I believe, worldwide theaters and whatnot. So it's like mainly in the U.S., kind of bigger cities, over on the more East Coast, I would say, and then over in like UK and stuff like that. But I think it's under the name like Cine World or
Yeah, there's a
Cineplex
couple.
or something like that.
It's like a conglomerate.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like they might know something that we don't know. Not necessarily like the pandemic, but like just the way business dealings are going, because it does. I saw this random weird rumor, and again, rumor, internet, conspiracy, who knows? But this then opens the door for Disney to invest in their own theaters.
Or buy like AMC. Or
again, right now, because movie theaters are hurting. Honestly, if Disney buys AMC, my stock will go up and I'll make a shit ton of money. So Disney, go and do that right now. That's my only biggest hope right there. But from a non-business point of view and just kind of consumer and whatnot, it seems very odd, because you are limiting not only the U.S. but the world of these blockbuster movies. You know, you have big name movies. I mean, just this year, like Suicide Squad, Matrix 4, a whole ton of other ones. But then next year is like the Batman and, you know, bigger stuff like that. So
yeah, that's the thing is I don't know what else is coming next year other than the Batman.
I mean,
honestly.
I'm sure they'll release a bunch of stuff, but that's going to be the biggest one just off the bat in our minds right now, that if the mainstream comic book fan that's obsessed and wants to not only make content but just wants to see this with their friends, their family, themselves, they can't see it. So I mean, I joked and I said, Cody, I guess I'm coming out to Bend, Oregon, several times just to see movies because I don't understand this. I feel like there's a missing piece to this puzzle still, because why limit yourself to one theater chain that isn't the biggest theater chain to only get a fraction, therefore, of the revenue? Or does that drive everyone to then go to a Regal just for that movie?
That's going to be impossible for a lot of people, though.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is, like, for the Batman, and I know it sounds dumb now, but you don't think people will drive hours and hours to get to the Batman? I think they will.
I think the hardcore fans will, but the families, no, not a chance. People have to spend $15 on 4 tickets, 5 tickets, whatever. They're not doing that shit. They're not going to spend 4 hours in the car, 3 hours in the car with their family to go watch the Batman. Not a fucking chance. They're going to wait till VOD. That would be the only, if we were to do like let's go out like we did with It Too. If we were to let's go see a movie and go out to Bend, because I can only see it, it would only be the Batman, and that's just to mostly make a trip out of it. I'm not gonna go watch. I will go illegally down. I'll say it right now, Warner Brothers. You want to come at me? I will illegally download.
Let me just put one. How do I make him only one screen on here?
Yeah.
Blow Seth
There
up
we
for
go.
his
Can you say that quick?
I'm going to illegally download all your movies, WB 2022. I will do it, though. I don't give a fuck. Like, The Flash, I don't give a shit about The Flash. I don't even want to. I'll wait 45 days for it to come to my theater to see that. Batman's the only one that I give a shit about. WB doesn't have a great lineup typically anyway. There's like 2 good movies they put out a year. So I don't really care at the end of the day. Like, the Batman's the only thing. And I love Batman a lot, but again, I'll make a trip out to Bend for that, and I won't see all of the other movies, or I'll illegally download them. I won't pay it. I don't even pay for your HBO thing. So there's another one.
Yeah.
I guess from my point of view, and not only if you have a Regal near you, I mean, there's people that, you know, maybe you have AMC's, you have Cinemarks, you have Alamo Draft House or a Flicks Brew House, something like that. You are probably, if you're not one of us where we're going to certain things depending on showtimes, or at least that's how I am, you're going to go to a specific theater, be like, well, wait, the one that I usually go to and get food and drinks and reclining chairs doesn't have the movie I want to see. I have to go to the shitty one across town.
It's going to confuse a lot of people.
I'm not saying Regals are all shitty, but, you know, every movie theater... Wait, what? I know yours is pretty good, but I know that, like, you know, I've been to varied levels of just AMC's where it's like literally this movie theater's 47 years old, or ones that they bring the food to you. So it's varying.
Yeah. And this is the thing the biggest issue I have is I think it's going to monopolize movie theaters, where that's going to become now kind of like a streaming service where
it's a WB movie theater.
Yep, you want to see WB movies, you got to go to Regal. If you want to see Marvel movies, you got to go to AMC. You want to see Paramount movies, you got to go to
Paramount
Plus. Whatever. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the main concern. I know it's only through 2022, so it probably won't continue that. But I also think the other thing is that I think this will change. I think if movie theaters come back and start to perform well, I think they could back out on this and say, okay, never mind, it's not exclusive. We'll still do the 45-day thing, but it's all theaters, not just Regal. If the theaters come back by, because I think the big test will be like Thanksgiving weekend, because that's when families start to go again. If Thanksgiving weekend is like box office is crazy, there's hundreds of millions of dollars being made right now, then they'll be like, whoa, hold on a second, let's just do the theatrical window thing, not make it exclusive. So I think there's still more to come.
It could be a thing too where they made this contract up and they leveraged it, where it's like, okay, how much does it cost to get us out of this contract? That's actually, we will be okay paying that to then open it up to every movie theater. It could be that thing too, where they wrote it a certain way. Again, I'm no contractionalist, but yeah.
Here's all I know is Regal's clearly the best theater. To your point from before, I know there are more AMCs, but there's a lot of shitty AMCs. I've never been in a bad Regal. And
I mean, there's some out there.
From the Regal, I mean, have you been to one? Like,
but you've been to 2 Regals. I mean,
I've been to more. No, I've been to a handful of Regals. Like a lot of the, if you go to like LA, Vegas, like any of the big cities, there are Regals.
I mean, there's shitty theaters with any brand.
What about
though. Like,
Omaha, Nebraska? Because I did look up. That's the closest one to me right now.
I would bet. So I don't know, but I would bet, and maybe we can do some research on this. But like AMC's, they buy existing theaters and they flip them into AMC Classics, and that's why you get shitty movies.
Yeah.
I think based on the Regals that I've been in, it seems like they're much tighter with their shit. Kind of like a Chick-fil-A versus like a Dairy Queen. I think like to get that franchise, you have to be a higher, and again, that's just mine, and I'm certainly biased because that's my local shit. But I think from Regal's standpoint, this is a great move. Obviously, it's only a win.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's going to draw more shit to them. And I'm a Regal guy. I think this emphatically closes the door on Greg Marcus and that fuckboy. Regal is jumping them guys.
Well, I don't know. Greg's more inclusive. He cares about people more. He lets
Greg.
everyone in. Regal, the people who are listen to their name, Regal. We are fancy. We are royal. We only let certain movies into our theater. Yeah, it sounds to me like people who sounds like Regal to me. They're just a little discriminatory. I don't know.
Man, if by discriminatory you mean only high quality people are allowed to go there, then yeah, they're discriminatory.
I don't know, man.
And I'm okay with that.
Cody, I'm gonna shoot you down right here. The last time you took me to a Regal, there was puke all over the bathroom floor. So
just because you puked all over the bathroom floor, that's not Regal's
I
fault.
didn't do it.
Oh man. This will be interesting to watch play out. To your guys' point, there's a lot that could change this next year. We don't know what the contingencies are, but it's going to be interesting to watch because one way or another, this is going to give us a lot of clues into what happens next.
I really hope. I pray that Disney comes into agreement with AMC and exclusively puts Marvel and Disney movies. I would. I would be so happy.
Man.
I would laugh so hard.
You know why they won't? Here's why they won't do that. Because Disney's goal is it's world domination. That's good. Disney's goal. They need to be in every city, in every town, in every theater. I don't think they would go exclusive unless they owned the theater company. Which maybe they will.
What about Paramount with Mission Impossible? Then you'd be a little upset.
I mean, it's like I'm only a few hours from Portland, so I can get to whatever theater it's going to be.
Yeah.
And for Mission Impossible, I'll fucking drive. So
yeah,
I'm not really worried about it. And we're on opposite sides of this because movies are getting taken away from you and given to me. So I'm obviously not as worked up about this, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. Does Paramount exclusive up with someone? Does Disney?
I don't think it will.
There's a lot of questions.
There's a lot of studios, big ones like that could pull the trigger and do something like this.
That's my worry, but I think ultimately I don't think it happens, and I ultimately don't think this sticks fully at least. Yeah. I could maybe even see like maybe they change it to a 2-week thing or something like that. I think when you make these decisions based off of what you think's going to happen right now with the pandemic, you have no clue. There's all kinds of, like data coming out now that could be this summer things start to get back to normal. So what if, the Labor Day box office booms? Then they're really going to be shitting their pants at that point.
And that's usually a big one. That's the next big one aside from 4th of July.
Right. So I think there's just a lot of data that we don't have yet. We've said it more. This word has been said more than any word than over the last year and a half, but unprecedented. These are no one fucking knows what's going to happen after July, and I think a lot of people are ready to get back out again and do shit. So
So what Seth is getting at is don't get married, people. Don't do it. You don't know what's going to happen.
Never.
It's a mistake.
It's
a mistake.
Commitment sucks.
Shouts out to all of our married people in the chat.
Make a contract for 45 days.
There you go. So let's turn from Regal, the #1 theater ever, and let's talk about a specific movie. So we don't know what theaters this is going to be available in, but what I can tell you, and I'm telling you this now before I even say the story because I want to go on record as saying this will be the best video game movie ever made. We just got word today that the John Wick director, Chad Stahelski, has signed on to do a Ghost of Tsushima movie, which, if you haven't been listening to the SoCo Show, you might not know why that's notable news. But I said as recently as last week or 2 weeks ago that this is one of my 5 favorite video games of all time. It is. I think cinematically, it's easily number 1 to me, and I know the rest of us. I know, but I just think Ghost is better, and I've played some of both. And I think this lends itself not only to a single movie that will be incredible because of they'll do awesome stunt work, the combat will be amazing, it'll have the samurai aesthetic, and in addition to that, I think because of the structure of the video game, and if anybody has played this out, this could be an excellent trilogy. You could make 3 awesome movies based on the story structure of Ghost of Tsushima, and they don't need to really do a lot of original stuff. Like get a good actor as the main character and surround him. This has the opportunity. I think this has the opportunity to be like one of the biggest movies whenever it comes out, because you're gonna have a strongly Asian cast, right? And so anytime you make a good movie with a strongly anything cast, right? Black Panther was huge. Mulan, they had some struggles because of pandemic and other reasons, but I think a lot of people watched that. And so I think there's going to be strong representation in here. There has to be great combat. It seems like that's obviously their motive here with going with Stahelski from John Wick. The story is already written. You don't need to change much. Like this is it. When I got done playing this game, I was like, this would be an awesome movie. And then 2 weeks later, they decided they were making it. I think I need to start wishing for more shit, because I don't know how this isn't the best video game movie that we've ever had. And maybe that's extreme of me to be just based off of the announcement today. And it seems like, yeah, of course I'm ahead of this, but tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong. No. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of high hopes for Uncharted, just based off what I'm interested in it and definitely want to see it, but I don't have a whole lot of high hopes. But I mean, you guys know how much I fucking love John Wick. And you throw in Ghost of Tsushima in there, and I mean, the like you said, the fighting is going to be insane. The combat's going to be nuts. But then add in just kind of the style, his style of directing, and albeit he did co-direct the first 2, but the style of John Wick, but the style of it's going to have bright color, just like Ghost of Tsushima's very bright colors. But it also can get very dark. And I think there's just like John Wick, there's a ton of neon and bright colors, but it's also very dark. I think that style is going to mash up perfectly for Ghost of Tsushima. I think will be
to your point on the connection with John Wick. It's a revenge plot.
Yep.
And so, like, if you've seen John Wick, I'm telling you right now, I feel bad for anyone who's playing a Mongol in this movie, because they're going to get fucking dealt with.
Yeah.
With the last piece, I think with it to say could be the best one is the casting. I'll be interested to see who they cast for it. I think you have to be kind of careful with because there's a lot of mythology in there with who you're casting. So because they use a lot of real life Japanese mythology in that game. So I think that you really have to, and history too. So I think you really have to be careful with what you're doing with casting and keeping the story the same. Like, it could be a nightmare real quick if they were to do it wrong. So I have a lot of faith in the John Wick guy, and I mean, if it just looks bloody and gory and the fighting's dope, then I think we'll be okay there too.
Yeah, you guys. Go ahead.
I think the only thing that could kill this movie is if they cast a white guy. If they do that, it's over. Immediately, it's over. But short of if they actually
Tom Cruise.
Even I would be anti that. As much as I want Tom Cruise to be in everything, this needs to be a Japanese.
Or
the whole
Keanu
cast
Reeves
really should be Japanese.
in 47 Ronin or whatever that movie was.
Oh yeah. They need to
Didn't Matt Damon do one too?
Yeah, the wall.
And you know what? Yeah,
whatever.
he did the Great Wall. But Stahelski's probably going to take a good look at Keanu Reeves for this. And I if you can hear me, Chad Stahelski, please fucking do not do that. Okay?
I mean,
because they need to cast this honestly and treat it with respect, because the game treats all that stuff with respect. And so that has to be a part of the translation, I think. Jared, what are you thinking about this?
I have not played as much as you guys. I mean, I played the multiplayer. I'm maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes into the actual game. So
Which you gotta
this
play.
this is going to drive me to play the game, obviously get more into it and whatnot. But I think that, honestly, from what you guys have told me, I can just imagine what he's done with film and like the standoffs between the main
Those already look
character
like movies.
and someone else, and the camera just going around them while they're like slowly just waiting for, and then it's like, a fucking arm just flies across or something, or like the main character literally take on 13 different people, just like John Wick, but instead of guns, it's literally limbs flying. And don't you have other weapons? Like, you don't have a shuriken, but
You got little knives.
It's they're called kunai. They're throwing knives. Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
So I think that, I mean, they could do.
You get a
lot with
bazooka
this.
too. It's pretty crazy.
Really?
Yeah, you got to get to the third part, man. It's
Holy
insane.
crap!
That's where John
spoilers.
Wick comes in.
Spoilers. Yeah, no, dude. I think again, I think we are slowly getting into a world where I think that they're learning how to potentially adapt video games. And it's, again, I'm not saying that this is going to be a trilogy. But they're learning that some of this stuff needs to be a little bit longer form, and also, like, Mortal Kombat looks like it's going to be a Mortal Kombat movie. Again, that has...
Looks, though. We don't know yet.
Well, and that's the thing is, Ghost of I always say Shushimi. Ghost of Shushimi combined with compared with Mortal Kombat, completely different, because that story is like way more serious and whatnot. I think that Last of Us might be the first like true test of like expanding
series.
out. Yeah, because we haven't gotten a release date. We just know that they're making this, right?
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
they
we got
also-
casting was the last thing.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal, and then a girl.
For Ghosts.
Oh no! Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
for
so
Ghost?
no.
They just
Yeah,
said they're
they
making
this is
just
just an
announced
announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hot off the press today. I like Dan. Dan brings up Daniel Kim from Lost. I don't know if he's Japanese or not, but I do like him. And Jay doesn't think we're giving respect to Mortal Kombat. We're all very excited for Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
But it just doesn't have it. There's not a plot to Mortal Kombat. This will have a deep and meaningful plot. And Mr. I-100, I hope you're right. I played the whole game, 90 hours in Kurosawa mode. If I can get a black and white cut of this movie, I will be there fucking immediately. I'll buy the extra special
they'll
edition
have that in
Blu-ray or
mind.
whatever.
Yeah, they'll have that.
It'll
in
also
mind.
be called the Justice is Gray cut.
Yep, just
Yeah,
hashtag,
yeah, there you go.
Which
hashtag
that-
restore the Snyderverse.
Which that comes out they released that a week later for some reason, but that comes out this week as well. The Justice
Well, it takes
is
so
Gray cut
long
of
to take
Justice
the
League.
color out of a film. You didn't know
It does.
that?
It's that's the smartest thing, I think, because
Get people to watch it again.
get people watching again. Yeah, like I will literally watch Ghost of Tsushima back to back twice in color and in gray if they give me that option. I will do that. So this immediately, like, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but Mission Impossible, Ghost of Tsushima. Like, until this comes out, this is the thing I'm most excited for. Maybe Marvel will change my mind with some of the stuff they bring out, but like, give me this ASAP Rocky. I need it now. So I don't want to hear about any change of directors or they fucking can't get. Yeah, Kyle calls it cowabunga mode.
That's when the Ninja Turtles come in and battle Jenner. So
Spoilers.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you got to play through the. You know what's awesome is you just said Jin Urso.
That's from Star Wars.
Jin Sakai is the guy.
Yeah,
Jin
yeah.
Urso is from
Star Wars.
Rogue One,
Yeah.
which you won't admit is a good movie.
it's not.
Rogue One's damn
It sucks.
You're wrong. I nearly had forgotten about this, and we're getting deep into the show now. So I'm going to go ahead and take another shot before we go on to our next topic. And this one's going to go out to Jill Buckendahl, who is actually the owner of the sounder. She didn't make it up, but that's what she requested when she came onto the show. So, Jill, we want to thank you for becoming an anchor wanker. Big shouts out. We much appreciate you. So this one goes out to you. Thank you.
Jared's all out of vodka.
I'm getting there. I didn't measure the show out right.
I spilled half of mine on the floor, but I got a little bit left. Backwash.
Ugh. Okay. Ooh,
Yeah,
that one's
yep.
fighting back.
How
Okay.
is it? How is it? Tell us.
So we've been heavy on the actual news. Let's get to a couple of goofy topics before we leave. What do you think? Jared, we've been talking about this all week. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, man.
Oh.
You've gone on record and you've said that this is the number one cereal. I fought back with Cheerios and Frosted Flakes. And what came out in the news this week, and I want to say ahead of time, we don't know yet if this story is legit. But it came out in the news this week. There was an individual who posted on Twitter, hey, my bag of Cinnamon Toast Crunch had shrimp tails in it. So shrimp tails, if you've eaten shrimp, the hard part at the end that you can't eat. Mm-hmm. This guy found at least 2 of those in his bag of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Reached out to the folks at CTC and said, hey, there's fucking shrimp in here. And they said, no, that's not shrimp. It's just a collection of a bunch of sugar, which is hilarious to me because it didn't look like that. And so at this point, we don't know what the truth is, but this guy could be lying. What I want to know is when you hear something like this, or, going back 10 or 15 years for some of us who remember this, finding a finger in Wendy's chili, like things like that. Jared, I want to ask you first. When you see I found shrimp in my Cinnamon Toast Crunch, does your faith and love for that cereal waver at all? Or are you just like, fuck it, I don't care what's in it, give me some more CTC? Like, what was your reaction being such a big fan when you started to see this news?
I had to go down the rabbit hole, or the cinnamon-coated rabbit hole, essentially, and
gross.
I am definitely scared of having, honestly, just any cereal now, like any food. Like, I've had a few instances of certain brands, certain foods in the past, and they're off, they're gone. They have never again will I eat those. Maybe another time I'll tell you about Yoplait yogurt. Don't eat that. It's bad.
No play.
No play at all.
What'd you find in there? Spider?
No, it was. I don't want to talk about it right now.
What?
It was bad. I'll talk about it in a future show sometime. Stay tuned, people. But yeah, man, this freaked me out. Not only the shrimp tails, but I think it was like there was like floss or something in there as well. I don't know.
Floss.
There was a whole bunch of stuff, and it's freaking me out because I love CT Crunch. CT Crunch, again, I will jump on that grenade. It is the best cereal out there, and this is just, I do not want to eat it for a long time. And again, maybe this is all a stunt, all a prank, but they have ruined my life because I love CT Crunch.
Yeah. Well, because it doesn't even really matter. Tell me if you think if you disagree. I don't think it matters if this is real. Like I've seen it now.
Yes.
Right? Like I've seen shrimp in the CTC. So whether or not it's legit, that's fucked with me too. Like I'm gonna have a hard time eating it next time without at least like giving it a really good look. Seth, does this deter you? Like, what's your take on this?
Jared, what we were gonna?
I was just gonna say. I mean, I'm slowly running out of cereals that haven't done something to me. So, like Cody, I think Cheerios or whatever the hell you're
Reese's
eating.
Puffs?
I think that might
Cheerios.
Reese's Puffs.
Be happy,
Reese's Puffs
be
are
healthy.
still on the menu. They have not fucked me or Captain Crunch.
What about
those two?
Well, Captain Crunch turns your mouth into basically a coin slot because it just completely rips that thing up. But what about like Cocoa Puffs or Fruity Pebbles? You don't like those?
Those are fine so far.
Okay.
The one,
so you still got it. You got
I'll be honest.
Selection.
The one that fell off a long time ago was Frosted Flakes because short story. Poured milk in, and then a bunch of ants came up.
Oh no!
Yeah. I didn't want to say it, but I had to say it.
Wait, now I gotta know Yoplait.
Sorry.
I gotta know the Yoplait.
I'm so sorry.
Now.
I don't think we're going to get the Yoplait out of him. I'm so sorry that happened, but I promise you Frosted Flakes are still dope.
A bunch of ants?
If that happened to me, I would have the same reaction. I would never eat them again if that happened to me. But
I can imagine it like it was yesterday. Like there's certain moments in your life that you will never forget. This is one of the horrifying ones because it's not the little tiny ones. It's the big black ones. And I was like, it makes my skin crawl just thinking about it.
I would have screamed.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No,
that's amazing.
No, it's bad.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, so like they were in the bag then, huh?
Yeah, they had to have been. But when I poured the milk, they all rose to the top. Help me!
I
just
so
got
much.
milked.
I really wish you hadn't told us that.
I know.
I have Frosted Flakes in my pantry right now. I'm not going to be able to eat them for a month.
What if you pour a bowl of Frosted Flakes in a bowl, and then like when you pour milk on them, instead of ants coming up, the flakes turn into ants?
Like that's a bad dream that everyone's having.
At that point, I don't know. I got a feeling that was Agatha all along. That sounds like chaos magic. That's being used there. I don't know what that is. Man, Seth, what do you think when you see something like this? When you see someone finds a finger in their chili, or what would be a comparable one at Texas Roadhouse? Someone found fingernails in their mashed potatoes. Like, does that stuff throw you off, or are you just like more diligent about looking at your food the next time you eat it?
I mean, you know me. I'm not diligent about looking at my food. No one even sees my food most of the time when I have it.
I don't think you've ever looked at food.
So that's my strategy. Eat it all before I find anything. No, I don't eat a lot of cereal to begin with. I did go on like a little bit of a cereal kick at the beginning of the pandemic because like there wasn't much in the theaters, in the grocery stores. So like I went with cereal because there was a lot of it and it was cheap, and I could, live on it for a little bit, I guess. So I did eat a lot of Cinnamon Toast Crunch then and French Toast Crunch. I didn't see anything in there, obviously. But I think these things are so rare. I mean, it can happen to anyone. If that did happen, that one, it's weird because, the shrimp tails are weird. But then there's also a bunch of like little black dots that look like mouse poops. That made me think that maybe it was a mouse got in there. But then there was also a taped up bag. And there's the dental floss. So I don't know. There's just a lot of weird stuff going on with that one. But yeah, I mean, if it's good enough, like if I were to eat that and then throw up, I probably wouldn't. Like if I saw it in there, I ate it, saw it in there, and threw up, then I'd probably be like, nah, I'm not eating that ever again. But I will have Cinnamon Toast Crunch again in my life, probably. I'm not gonna. I'll probably laugh about the shrimp thing, but anything can happen with shit and food at any time. So accidents happen. Yeah.
Dan brings up a really good point. We've all eaten a lot of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Between the three of us, it's a lot. And this has never happened. So, like, probability says you're going to be fine. Like, if you're the one guy in a million that finds an ant in your Frosted Flakes, like, that sucks. And I understand if that ruins Frosted Flakes for you forever. I get it.
That's crazy.
But for the rest of us, like, I'm still probably going to eat Frosted Flakes. And until something like that happens to me, it's that's tough, man.
It's bad, man.
I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Any bad food, if you ever talk to anyone who's bitten into an apple and found a worm, they remember that forever and they're not eating apples anymore. Like, I totally understand if it happens to you directly, get rid of it.
Well,
and for me, like, it'll be a little bit before I buy another box of CT Crunch, but eventually I will. I'll forget about it. I think that's true.
Well, Dan also commented he found a fly in his mashed taters at Hickory Park, which is a restaurant, I think, in Ames, right?
Yeah,
we have fucked up a lot at Hickory Park.
Yeah. And I have actually distinct memory of middle school, where we had mashed potatoes one day, took a spoon, went right through it, and there was a spider in there.
What?
What the fuck?
You know what I did? Wiped off that spoon, took the Spidey out, and ate the rest of those taters.
Oh, no!
I just blew our audio way out the top, but that it was warranted
because you know what? Those mashed taters, I loved them, man. I wasn't gonna let some mashed taters go just because there's a little Spidey in there.
Oh,
wow.
I feel
I don't
so
think I can touch you
right
ever
now.
I don't think I could ever shake your hand or hug you or French kiss you ever again. Like I don't think I can do it. That's the most horrible thing I've ever heard in my life, I think. Yeah. If I found a spider, if I found a spider, if I found a spider in a Mission Impossible movie, it would make me reconsider that.
While you're at the theater watching the movie, there's a spider there.
If a spider crawled on me while I was watching Scott Pilgrim, it would move down the list. Like I am any foreign object coming into what and interrupting what I expected is not okay. Dan is having, I think, an equally passionate response. A lot of all caps, and I'm impressed, but also disgusted by your ability to move on from something like that.
I was in middle school, man. Did you remember smelling those fucking lockers back then? People like put their sweaty ass clothes and nasty ass shit in the locker. It smelled worse than a little spider, and like that. The equivalency there for me was like, it's a bunch of middle school kids who are fucking going through puberty, being gross everywhere. Like spider isn't that gross.
I disagree emphatically. I think there's no such thing as a small spider.
There was probably kids walking through the lunch line whose fucking pimples exploded all over the apples, and people ate that. So I mean, people are eating gross stuff all the time.
Oh,
why you gotta make me think about that? It's what the chat disagrees with you, Seth. The chat is on our side, and I think that's the right place to be.
Like I've never been that hungry.
He's right. Oh my god, that is.
And
we're gonna move
Kyle.
on from that. I have too much liquor in me to not vom if we keep talking about spiders and food. So we're going to need to move on. And we talked about it at the top. We're going to need to get to this Justice League thing here in a second.
Yeah,
so we got to get out of what do you think here. So let's wrap it up for that. A lot of good topics this week. Let us know in the comments or via Facebook and in Twitter. Our handles are up here at SoCo Show Pod, and then our personal handles are up here as well. At _ Cody Michael, at Seth Ott, at Jared Buckendall.
At Jared Buckendall.
So hit us up. Let us know what your thoughts on our Jesus Christ. Let us know what your thoughts are on all of those items that we talked about. And we're going to move on. That's it this week for What Do You Think?
What do you
There you go. Kyle, we are mercifully moving on just because you asked us to. We got to get into What Do You Watch? Let's talk about this fucking Snyder Cut thing.
Can we do one more? I actually do have one more. I do have one more memory of gross food.
Please don't.
And you're gonna you need to.
I'm gonna do it right now
tell us
because
now,
I'm gonna forget about it if I don't. McDonald's. Do you remember they used to have wraps like
Snack wrap. They were delicious. I ate a lot of them.
Yeah.
Snack wrap, chicken snack wrap, Big Mac snack wrap. I had a chicken snack wrap. I had not eaten at all. I'd worked like a 12-hour day at Fairway. So I'd worked like 6 a.m. till like close. It was a long day. I ordered a shitload of McDonald's because it was right there and I was starving. I had a chicken snack, crispy chicken snack wrap. Took a bite of it, long ass hair in it. Long hair. And it had the follicle at the end. And and so I that one I'm like, because I was probably 17 then, and I'm like, I'm really fucking hungry. And so I pulled it out and finished that snack wrap.
You ate it oh my god!
Oh my god!
I don't think I can hang out with you anymore, dude. Like that's so. You gotta fucking light that food on fire when that shit happens. You can't just eat it. Oh my goodness, that makes my skin. We gotta get on from that, or I'm gonna have a meltdown. I don't think Jared's handling it very well either. We gotta move on, and we gotta bring this thing back to what we came here to talk about, which was Zack Snyder's Justice League. We've been talking about this on this show. I'm not going to be able to do this without thinking about Justice League. We've been talking about the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. We've been talking about it for like 2 years on this show. We've been covering it extensively for a long period of time. And about a year ago, we mentioned that it was going to be releasing on HBO Max, and it did just that last weekend. It is a 4-hour-long cut of Justice League, which expands upon the original cut was just about 2 hours. And as many in the chat I think will know, Zack Snyder started filming the movie, and then he had to exit, and they brought in Joss Whedon to finish it. He did a couple reshoots, did some editing, put out the movie. It kind of stunk. And then it released the Snyder cut. Everyone wanted to know, what was Zack Snyder's take on this going to be? And after many years and many tweets, we finally got that answer. And so the movie came out last week. We've each sat down and enjoyed the 4-hour marathon that was Justice League. And I'll go first. My thoughts on this, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I liked it a lot. I thought that this was a vast improvement on the theatrical cut. Was it long? Absolutely. Should it have been cut down by a fair amount? Absolutely. But What I think you got here with the 4-hour time was you got more of the character of Cyborg, for example. You got to know actually his backstory. The villain Steppenwolf actually got a meaningful reason to be there other than just bad guy. And so I think this added a lot of much needed context that the theatrical cut was missing. Like I said, I think this is a vast improvement. And I think people who hated I didn't like the Justice League at all. I thought it was bad. And when I watched this, I was interested, I was locked in, and I was focused on this for the entire 4-hour run. I watched it in one shot. And I want to get your guys' take on this before we move on, and I've got a couple takeaways from this. But I thought it was a vast improvement, and I really enjoyed it. Seth, what did you think when you caught the Snyder Cut?
I wouldn't say vast improvement, but it definitely improved. I think it's a complete movie and has backstory and it fills in the holes. Like you said, it could be 3 hours and be perfectly fine. But I did like what they added. I think that Cyborg is a much better character. I think Superman is a much better character in this one. I think it feels like a complete movie, but the issue is it being 4 hours. It's like that at that point it's a mini series, and so I think there's probably a better way to do a 2-hour Justice League overall. I don't think you can cut that movie into 2 hours though. I just don't think
it'd be really hard.
The skeleton that they created with this movie, you can't fit it in 2 hours and make it a good movie. I just don't think you can. 3 hours probably, but I did like what they did, what they added. I liked the look of it was different. It wasn't. I mean, obviously it was in 4:3 format. I was watching it on the projector, which was nice. So that was kind of fun. Honestly, I wish they would have released the black and white cut right away, because I would have watched that. On the projector would have been dope. I'm not spending it. I probably won't watch this ever again, so I'm not going to spend 4 more hours to watch it. Not to say it is bad, but it's a lot of time to watch a movie that it doesn't matter now necessarily. It's not something that we'll need to go back and watch to see another movie. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was better than the other one, and it was again fun to watch on the projector. So overall, I had a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I originally, when I first watched, I was like, holy crap, because I watched the 2017 one just as a refresher, and then I watched this one, and I was like, holy, bejesus, this is a completely different movie. This is way better. But I have had some time to think about it, which is, I think, necessary for this, because yes, I do agree it's absolutely better and stuff, but it's this weird thing where I think the three of us, we worked in business and stuff like that. I'm caught between creativity and business. No movie theater, no studio. Like, you can't fit that many blocks of time to make that money back. Like, this would never happen without the weird things that happened. And you need streaming platform, the investment, all of that. That's beside the point, but I do think that it's like the 2017 one was a really like dead carcass, and this was able to like put meat on it, bring it alive a little bit, flesh it out quite a bit. And if you're a huge DC fan and did like the 2017 one, but you felt almost betrayed, you're going to love this movie. Again, am I going to watch this again? Probably not. It's 4 hours. It's a time commitment. I do love the added things. Again, Cyborg was probably the best thing for myself. But when we start digging a little bit more into it, like I said, I've had a couple days to sit with it. I'm kind of like, you just added that just to add it. Like, that did nothing. Like, there's certain, and again, no spoilers or big spoilers here. There's certain scenes that are very meaningful and very emotional, but they don't really, there's certain things that happen potentially that I'm like, that didn't need to be in the movie. Like, that is essentially, a lot of the stuff felt padded, to be honest. I mean, I saw someone take a clip of the Wonder Woman jumping, or like the essentially introduction of Wonder Woman, and I love what they did with her in the Snyder Cut. They added it out a little bit more. They showed a little bit more brutality and stuff like that, but it's just added. It's not necessarily like, if you need to fit it into, and that's the weird thing, art and business and creative vision. It's like, movies do whatever, it's creative vision, but you do have certain standards, unfortunately, to fit into. And with the 4 hours, yeah, it's fucking cool. But I don't think it's ever gonna, like, I know you guys are passionate out there, but you're never going to see part 2 and 3 unless
Right.
it's 2-hour movies.
Yep.
I think the thing about I think there's a somewhere in the middle is the best version, right? So is it 2 hours? No. Is it 4? No. I don't know if it's 3, but maybe it's 2.5. And maybe you could have added some footage with that original theatrical cut that would have given the time that specifically Cyborg and Steppenwolf, to me, deserved and should have had if we're meant to give a fuck about them. I think to your point, Jared, I think Snyder knew I can do whatever I want in this, and so I'm going to do everything I want in this. And I think he could have been more judicious with some of his cutting. IGN came out and said they counted, and by time, 10% of this movie is in super slow-mo.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot. You don't need all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
right.
he's very much being self-indulgent, and because of the way they put this out, that was okay. So I think the best version is somewhere in the middle. But the question I want to pose to you guys is this. This was a 4-hour long superhero movie that really, it gave us all the context and all of the development that we needed to have an impactful ending of this movie. I think that's the thing that really people are gravitating toward and appreciating about this. I submit for you guys to respond to that this medium or something like it, because for people who haven't watched, and this isn't a spoiler, they actually chop this up into, it's either 5 or 6 parts. And every now and then they'll come up with a title card that says part 5 or part whatever. And I submit for you guys to respond to, we should really be doing superhero stories as series or mini series rather than movies. There's no way in hell. You can't do it with Captain Marvel. You can't do it with Black Panther. You can't do it with Iron Man. You can't really build out a story that's going to satisfy people in 2 hours. You can't do it. No more is that ever going to happen. There's too much context. There's too much backstory. There's too many characters we need to give a fuck about. And so I think what Justice League showed me is the WandaVision treatment is what we should be doing with superheroes. I really don't think a 2-hour movie is going to cut it for most people anymore when it comes to this stuff. I don't know what you guys think of that, but that's what Justice League taught me was we need series, not movies, for these big budget superheroes.
I mean, I think again, you're thinking through the mind of the more hardcore person. I think the casual people who go to the theaters, they're okay with 2 hours. They're okay with a quick, and I'm okay with 2 hours. You know, like I think that with the way Marvel has done it, I think they've built enough of their lore and story. I think Marvel in general, yeah, I think they might be. I mean, they're suited for any medium, honestly. I think DC should definitely go this route because I think with DC, their stories tend to be more complex. Their characters tend to be more complex. They tend to be more based on real. Well, no, there's aliens. I mean, I guess with DC, it just seems that there's more complex, real world, serious issues in a lot of them, at least lately, in the last probably 20, 30 years or so. I think, like Justice League, yeah, you can't do that in less than 3 hours. I think that would be a great one to do as a series and continue to do these as series. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule that it needs to be, you know, that people aren't going to accept it. I think superhero movies have done a good job.
Yeah.
But what I like to see more and more and more superhero stuff be in series and, you know, like be on streaming services and like, yeah, absolutely. Give me these B, C, D level characters, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Wanda, you know, Vision, all that stuff. Loki. I mean, I think there's so many characters that'll be perfect for these series. I think same thing with DC. I think The Flash could be a perfect one of that. The Flash I like, but I don't, you know, he's not, I think he's not as, I mean, he is kind of complex, but he's not, I think that power doesn't necessarily lend itself to just a movie. He just runs really fast. You can do a little bit more stuff and expand on it, and they deal with time travel and all that shit. So yeah, I think there's different heroes that apply to those different mediums.
I thought one way after you were done talking, Cody, and then I've kind of shifted a little bit. I think that it's this weird toss-up where, maybe we're ingrained in it a little bit too much. Casual fan, I think they're fine with whatever. But I think that, honestly, moving forward, Justice League, this Snyder Cut, along with WandaVision, along with Falcon and Winter Soldier, Black Widow is going to be the first test. And I think people are going to maybe give it quite a bit of backlash to be like, we didn't get enough. And I'm wondering if this, for the hardcore fans, the people that are in our spheres or people we see tweets from and stuff, this is going to be the thing that they want. They're going to be more attached. Like, honestly, Scarlet Witch is probably beloved by a lot more fans out there. Falcon and Winter Soldier are going to be. Loki is going to be. People are going to be like, oh,
Miss
Iron
Marvel,
Man, Captain America, stuff like that. But all of these other people that are getting way more
She-Hulk,
character development are going
Moon
to be
Knight.
people's favorites. Exactly. And I think that it's going to be a thing where these series, people are going to latch on to more than the movies. Or it could be a thing, actually, no. They're going to latch onto it more. And then if and when they do get a movie, it's going to be huge.
And that's the thing, is those movies are going to have the big shit. The movies, that's why I think Marvel's, you can't even compare Marvel in this, I don't think, because it's just a huge fucking web that they've strung over the last decade and a half. So, like, I think, what you're talking about, like, that's going to be the precedent, whereas you're getting these characters who are being built now on the TV series, and then the big shit where they meet up with, like, Doctor Strange or whoever, the Captain Marvel, whatever the big heroes, the A heroes are going to be the movies. The B, C, D heroes are going to be developed and eventually become A heroes. And when these big events happen, they're going to tease the big event at the end of the series, and then boom, it happens in the movie. I think that you can't put Marvel in that category, but DC, I think that would be perfect for a lot of their stuff to be miniseries.
I love that. I think you could take the first 2.5 hours, 2 hours of Justice League and do it in, 5 or 6 episodes of TV, and then give me the last 90 minutes of Justice League as a movie, and everyone would have liked it way more. So I think that stretching out, you need a lot of context. You need a lot of time with these characters to give a fuck about. If we're going to ever give a fuck about Squirrel Girl, I promise you it's going to take us longer than 2 hours.
Hell yeah.
And
Give
so
me a Squirrel Girl
give me more.
series.
Give me more. And you guys will remember a couple of years ago, I was incredibly anti Marvel or DC going to this series treatment. But now that I've seen it a couple of times, I've changed my tune entirely. I would rather have more series than more movies at this point. And I agree with you. Like the big stuff, the stuff that's exploding, the fucking fights, the final showdown with Thanos. Yeah, of course I'll go to the theater for that stuff. But let me build up. Let me start giving a fuck about these characters over the course of a handful of episodes, rather than trying to cram the origin story for the villain, the origin story for the side character that you're going to introduce in a spin-off movie, the team up movie that you're teasing in this, and then the actual fucking plot in 2 hours. I don't think it's possible anymore. I think the webs are too complex to have movies that short. And so we're either going to get really long movies like Endgame, or we're going to get series. And I'm fine with either, because I don't mind sitting with stuff for real long time.
I really like what you guys are getting at, where it's like, the big spectacle is the big screen, and the rest, and not discounting that part of their story and everything, but like that suits a TV where you have a more kind of calmer tone here or there, where it's interpersonal, just talking and figuring out what makes them tick and what problems they're dealing with. Honestly, the first episode of Falcon Winter Soldier, we got way more in Sam than we ever did in the movies.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait tomorrow morning for episode 2. It feels like it's been a month since I watched the first episode. I'm so excited for more of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the future of it all, is building the character development on the TV and putting your A-list. Because the thing, I heard an interview with Anthony Mackie, I think Hot Ones actually. He mentioned that the more interesting characters in superheroes, but he's talking Marvel in general, are the characters like him and Bucky, because you don't know a lot about them. There's still a lot of story to be told there. You see them doing the cool shit, like flying around and shooting stuff and beating the hell out of people, but you really only know more. You know more than the surface level of like Captain America, Iron Man, those type of people, Captain Marvel, where you've got an origin movie and all that stuff. But your Falcon and Winter Soldier, you don't know a whole lot. I mean, you know more about Winter Soldier, I guess, but these series build their story, so there's still a whole lot of stories to tell with a ton of these B-level characters. I think it's going to be really fun to see what they build over these next few years. I think the excitement with Marvel, for me, is getting like you said, Friday mornings now. I get up early to fucking watch that before work, because I think the excitement of Marvel is not quite as high as Endgame. Like that was like but this is pretty close up there. This is as excited I've been about as just like normal Marvel, like not peak climax Marvel, since the beginning, really. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see where do superhero movies go from here. I think like we're eventually, when we're old, we're going to talk about pre-Endgame and post-Endgame, as that's going to be a thing in a stake in the ground. And so we'll see what continues to unfold in the post-Endgame world that we're now living in. But for the folks out there, if you saw Justice League, let us know in the chat if you dug it, if you didn't dig it. If you haven't watched it yet, are you more excited or less excited based on what we've said here? We tried to keep it spoiler free. Hope we didn't give anything away. But we got to wrap things up and start bringing this show to a close. So that's going to end it for What Did You Watch?
What?
I forgot to mention on the way out of What Did You Watch, a couple of things that we're going to talk about next week. Nobody, which is Bob Odenkirk in an brutal action movie from the sound of it, and Solar Opposites, which is the animated series on Hulu by Justin Roiland, who's one of the creators of Rick and Morty. Each of those we're going to talk about next week. So make sure you check out Nobody and Solar Opposites if you want to keep up with us. That's what we're going to be reviewing next week, potentially among some other things. So definitely look forward to that next week. But for now, we got to wrap this shit up. So before we go, we're going to leave you with one more thing.
But I'm down to one more thing.
All righty. Well, my one more thing this week. So I guess really the theme to my one more thing is like, I think I'm finding recently that it is incredibly useful to have a really well thought out like routine for your day, like a schedule for your day. And I'm a planner by nature, but I've never really gone to the extent of like actually planning out entire days of mine. Like I've always been like, oh, I'll go to work and I'll do work stuff, then I'll come home and I'll do home stuff. But recently, the last couple weeks, I've been scheduling out a lot more stuff, like in terms of when I'm going to eat, like when I'm going to shower, when I'm going to take care of myself, when I'm going to do what work throughout the day. And for me, it's helped a ton. And that may be specific to me, but I think a lot of other people out there, like if you ever like feel like you don't really have control over stuff, that was the biggest thing for me is like I started scheduling out things, and now I know exactly when I'm going to eat, and I just do. And I know exactly when I'm going to shower, and I just do. And I've been like getting up at a certain time, going to bed at a certain time. That's a big key thing. And like I'm starting to become a morning person because of that. Like I'm getting up earlier, going on walks, like eating breakfast, and that's stuff that I didn't normally do. And so for me, like going from having a lack of a plan where I can do anything I want, which seems great until you're in it and then it sucks. And so now I'm just trying to have a little more strict control over like when I'm spending all of my time. And it's helped me a ton. Like even just in the past couple weeks, I can tell I've got more energy. I've got a better mood and all of that stuff. So I would encourage you guys, if you're struggling with, and I think a lot of us have been over quarantine, like when am I supposed to do, what am I I haven't showered for 3 days. Like, am I supposed to shower? I'm not going anywhere. Like schedule the shit out and stick to your schedule. And I can tell you anecdotally, it will improve your mood. I promise you. If you're like me, that will help a lot. Just having it will give you more of a sense of control over your day. So that's my mental health tip of the week is, schedule your shit out and then stick to that schedule. And it really, really helps. I've had a really great week because I've done exactly that. And so I would encourage you guys to think about that if you're looking for something to improve. So that's my one more thing this week.
Yeah, I definitely need to follow your lead. I have a schedule, but it's pretty much like, hey, here are the things you got to do today. So it's more of a to-do list than a schedule. So yeah, definitely got to do that. One thing for me, kind of almost a mental health kind of like save my own sanity type thing was, we watched what?
Masturbate crazily.
Yeah. Didn't we watch? Oh, was it the Social Dilemma that told us about the notifications and this and that?
You guys watched it.
So I went through and I didn't turn off all of my apps, but as someone who is working in this space and whatnot, I get a lot of notifications. I turned off Facebook. Basically, Facebook is gone. I should just delete it. I have it for a few things, but like I turned notifications off on that, and that has helped my life tremendously. And it's really funny because they keep sending me like, hey, you might know so-and-so. Why don't you add him as a friend?
Yep.
Or to keep me trying to come back to the app, because I'll open it up maybe 2-3 times a week, and it's every time I do, it's 10 times. It's like 10 notifications of people you might know. I've never met these people in my entire life. Facebook is slowly not understanding who I am as a person and just helplessly trying to be like, you need to come back here. This might be a friend. And I'm like, even if it was someone I know, I don't give a shit. I'm sorry, but I don't care anymore. So that's one thing. But also when I opened it up today, Tiger King came out a year ago. So that is where we are in the world. Tiger King was 1 year ago, people.
Awesome.
Maybe a few weeks, maybe a week or two ago, but like it popped up as like a review or something. So wow, that we've been 1 year post Tiger King.
Hell yeah.
Man, I feel like I've aged 10 years in that time.
Yeah.
That's good. We've made it. We've made it a year.
Mm-hmm.
There were times I didn't think we would, but we did.
My one more thing's a little bit more somber, a little more down. Couple TV legends passed away. First one a couple days ago was from the Goldbergs, George Siegel. He played Pops, the grandpa. They're gonna eventually do like a goodbye episode to him, and that's gonna kill me.
Maybe some wet chefs. Yeah.
Yeah. I teared up a little bit because I saw that a lot of the cast was tweeting about him and stuff, and especially the kid who played, or I guess he's probably in his 20s now, who plays Adam Goldberg on the show. He put out a really nice tweet. That was real nice, real sweet. But then we also lost Jessica Walter, who played Lucille Bluth on Arrested Development. She passed away today. Man, she had some of the most impeccable timing. She is such a huge part of that show, Arrested Development. She also was the voice of, I think, Mallory Archer on Archer, played the boss lady. Also, I think Archer's mom, obviously, because her last name's Archer. I haven't watched that in a while, but that was funny, and she was great on that. But obviously, I loved her most as Lucille Bluth. Someone posted a 1.5-minute clip of just some of the best lines, and God, she is so fucking funny, man. And I saw a lot of the cast of that today tweeting about her. So, they come in threes. I really hope we don't lose another one of my favorite TV people here over the next few days or so. Don't be taking Stone Cold Steve Austin, all right? He's staying.
Don't even put that out in the world.
Why would you? Remember, you guys almost killed that guy that played Lando.
Billy D.
Yeah, you almost killed
Billy D. R.I.P. Billy D.
R.I.P. Billy D.
Oh my God, I'll be amazed if anyone in the chat remembers that. That's my old one.
That's got to be like 150 episodes old.
That's a long time ago. We're getting older, guys, so this is going to keep happening to us. It's only going to get more frequent. But
to be fair, we're
learning.
They were in their 80s.
There were some old folks.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
But I honestly, it's because the guy who played Pops. I keep up on the Goldbergs. I watch every week, and I noticed like this last season especially. I'm like, man, he's looking quite old. And they even did an episode recently of where, he was slowing down. He wasn't the same Pops that he had been, and wanted to hang out at the retirement home instead of go out and do adventures with Adam. And they had an episode where he was like pretending to be the old Pops and stuff, and then at the end of the day it was like the lesson was he's people get older but you still have the memories and blah blah blah. So I still think that they have they have a few more episodes to go this season. I think they still have some to film, maybe even. So I hope that maybe even if they don't get another season, and maybe the finale, and maybe they do one more episode and the finale is in memoriam to Pops, and they kind of like close it out of like that's their relation. The heart of the show was Adam and Pops, their relationship, and if once that's they have him pass away in the show, and then that's the end of the show. I could totally see that be as a finale, and that would kill me.
Goldberg's is great, man. That's for anyone in the chat who has not watched any Goldbergs, do yourself a favor and start episode 1. That shit is hilarious. So yeah, we got saying goodbye to some Hollywood legends, taking care of our brains, and setting some routines and stuff up. So there's a few things for your head and for your heart, and one more thing.
But I'm down to one more thing.
That's gonna do it for episode 188 of the SoCo Show. We appreciate you guys for joining us live here in the chat. Big shouts out to Dan, to Mike, to Kyle, Mr. I-100, all of you guys, Abby,
John
Jill, for being new anchor wankers this week. Big shouts out to all of you. We're having so much fun with these live shows. It's really great to get to see y'all in the chat. So we hope you'll keep joining us. Big shouts out, of course, to J-Buck Studios YouTube page for hosting our live stream this week. Jared, for the folks who either have already been J-Buck subscribers or recently become J-Buck subscribers, what can they look out for in the next week right here on the J-Buck Studios channel?
Not too sure about the next week, but the next 16 hours, you can look forward to Falcon and the Winter Soldier reaction, Suicide Squad trailer reaction, because that's coming out tomorrow, and then a bunch, probably 5 or 6 TikToks. I am not going to sleep at all tonight. I'm going to go make coffee after this, so stay tuned, everyone.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. There's going to be a lot of J-Buck out there for anyone who's looking for it. It sounds like a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. Want to thank all of our sponsors and our anchor wankers for supporting the show, keeping it going, keeping us constantly improving. And we're going to say this a lot in the next couple of months at least, but we're working on some really exciting stuff for the SoCo Show. And so now is a great time to become an anchor wanker. So if you're already a wanker, we hope you'll share this out with folks and try to help us grow the party. But if you've been a listener and are not yet a wanker, we would really appreciate it if you would consider doing so. But really, just by clicking on these episodes every week in Anchor or by joining us here on the YouTube page, you are, in fact, helping out the show already. So we really appreciate all the time that you spend with us, either listening or watching here on these live shows. So big shouts out and big thank you to all the listeners out there. We'll be back a month from now for another live show, and we hope to see a lot of you back for that one. But for now, that is going to wrap us up for episode 188 of the SoCo Show. For the bro host, Jared Buckendahl, and the so-host, Seth Ott, I've been the co-host, Cody Michael, and we will see you next week.
Bye.